second. Hello there, everybody. Apologies for that. The sound was not working on the stream then. That's a big disappointment. I'm very sorry. Chaz Draycott here with Chris Dawes in the booth for the Kentucky Legacy 300 on Vertex. And yeah, the audio issue is down to a complete rebuild of all of my audio drivers at my end. So it's reset OBS as well, gratefully. But just to sort of recap what we were just saying then when no one could hear us, Chris, we've got some beautiful machinery ahead of us and some fantastic liveries as always.
I'm not introducing myself again, mate. Oh, it's good to be back, mate, and that includes ribbing you as well. It's just it's good fun, isn't it? Jonathan Rex there, that's a nice sort of turquoise. For those of you who don't know, because we were rabbiting on about it a second ago, is that we're sort of catching up with the amazing liveries of these guys. All that was qualifying over and done with. That was quick.
Yeah, that flew by as quick as anything, that one. Well, we'll have a quick look at the grid then. Alex Sedgwick has taken pole position for this one with Aaron Smith alongside him. Brian Crowles and Paul Irvin make up the second row of the grid. And then we have Reece Saunders in fifth with Adrian Burke sixth. Jonathan Hill will start in seventh place, who we were just looking at then in the Revolution satellite car. Then Mark Murphy, good to see Mark back. He was here for the very first Euro NASCAR race that we actually broadcasted ages ago at Brands Hatch, and Mark was a real hit there, and I'm very, very pleased to see him back on this one. Gil Linster, another returnee to this championship, TGS competition. He lines up ninth with Justin Nair in 10th place for Team Lightning. Then we've got Guillaume Hesno in 11th, and Ivan Baumans in 12th place. Then we have Hans Blankart in 13th in car 33. Jonathan Rex in the Team 4 Motorsports. There we've got Turn 4 Motorsport and Team 4 Motorsports, so we'll have to try and not get those confused. And then we have race control. We have Alex in the in the booth.
They still did better than I would.
Yeah, to be fair, yeah, he's actually he's not set a time in his 15th, but he got out of the pit lane, which is yeah, like Chris says, probably better than either of us would do, to be honest. But we do have a beautiful grid of cars, and we will take everybody through it just now, just so you can have a quick check-up on what we've got then. But Aaron Smith and Alex Sedgwick, well, to be honest, Chris, I mean, all through the entire season that we just saw with them, these guys were hammer and tongs at each other constantly, and they're going to do it again tonight, I'm sure.
Without question. And I mean, they've got quite a long old race there. Now, I'm just checking something. Sedgwick's actually number 8, because I've just realised on my entry list I had 2 number 8s, but Sedgwick's been forced to go number 8, has he? Yeah, he has, hasn't he? So Paul Irvin managed to override him and get the number 9 that he normally likes to get, doesn't he? So is that going to unsettle the champ this time?
Oh, I don't know. I'm not sure. Although, to be honest, speaking completely honestly here, that number 8 in that font on that livery really does suit it, though. It's quite a classic number to have on a NASCAR, isn't it?
To be fair, yeah, I know what you mean. It is. It just threw me for a second. You know, that's easily done anyway at the best of times, to be fair. But cute. No, it's not, Chris. But it is totally different. For those of you wondering what we're rabbiting on, if you've not actually joined us before, where have you been? And that's totally unacceptable. But secondly, it means that we've been covering the championship. You did Series 1. I joined you for Series 2. And some of these were in that, and it was just catching up on the colours. And they have chosen to go different on the whole, haven't they? Really, I don't think anybody's in the same. Including, I was looking forward to see if Jonathan Hill was going to be in Gravedigger, but he's not.
No, it's a shame not to see the Gravedigger car back out there. There is Jonathan Hill in the 84. We've got 200 laps ahead of us then this evening, and Alex Sedgwick is going to lead the field round and get us underway. And, well, hold on to your hats, because this is going to be a very, very feisty one. We'll go to a nice wide shot so we can see everybody that is on track at the minute. Plenty of bright and beautiful liveries out there then. And the green flag's in the air, and Alex Sedgwick puts his foot down and leads the field away in the Legacy Kentucky 300. And I tell you what, Aaron Smith is used to his restarts by now. Well, his starts in this case. Brian Crowell's just holding on to third place in the number 9 machine. Paul Irvin is holding to fourth, but look at that. What a start there from Aaron Smith. He's carried the speed around the outside there, Chris. Beautifully done.
That was clean as anything, wasn't it? And in fairness, it looked like Alex just knew that was done. And there's some experience there from the pro driver that he kind of went, well, you don't win the race on the opening lap, but you sure as heck can lose it. So he's just settles himself in there, and in the briefing, he's trying to say, don't try to win it, don't try to make up all those places on the opening lap. And he's just worked out that he was a sitting duck there. And Aaron Smith, who in season 2, he was just unbeatable in the main, wasn't he? Incredible. But look at this. Suddenly Sedgwick's got a good run down the back straight there, but I don't think he's managed to take that all the way into the bend, so he just sits in the line as it stands at the moment. I think I'm getting deja vu from those two going at it, hammer and tong, though.
Yeah, definitely. We've seen a lot of it over the last 2 seasons, and we're going to see more of it again. This is Mark Murphy in the 58, just attacking Jonathan Hill, going into turns 1 and 2. And I tell you what, you may think 200 laps is a lot. We're already on lap 3. This thing is going to fly by, I'm sure, but we're going to enjoy ourselves along the way. Mark is really trying to squeeze Jonathan Hill around here. Unfortunately, Ivan Bauman's has had an issue off the start, which we're going to just have a very quick look back at. Let's see what's gone on here. He's in the blue and white car. Oh, a tiny bit of contact there with the 62. That's Jonathan Rex, and he bounces off the inside wall, and the car comes to a stop. I'm surprised we didn't get a yellow for that, actually, Chris.
Yeah, because he certainly was down low and was going to take a little while to get recovered. I guess they just assumed that he would get going, although he's gone into the pits and just making his way back out again. And first lap, just stay cool, Trig, play it cool, Trig, play it cool, and just come back out and just sort of patiently work your way through. We've seen it time and time again in a lot of the other races, haven't we, on the ovals, that it only takes a few of the cautions and suddenly you're able to work your way back through this field and get yourself right into the pointy end. However, the flip side to that is that if you become impatient, you'll get involved in everyone else's moments as well. Yeah,
for sure. It's easy to get caught up in these things, and to be honest, we've seen a lot of it over the course of the 2 seasons that we've done so far, that you could just be going about your own race and almost having a bit of fun, if anything, and just, running your own lines, worrying about the traffic around you, and then all of a sudden someone losing it in front of you or just sort of running a bit deep and just tapping you can really make or break your race. Here's Gil Linster in the TGS competition car. He's just getting used to this machine by the look of it. He's been right up there, to be honest, throughout a lot of the 2 seasons we've done. Oh, it's close again at the front. The cameraman nearly falls over, spinning round, but Brian Crowles is right in there here, and he has a front row seat of this one, Chris. That's a beautiful shot there. On board, a bit of chassis flex to go with it as well, but Alex Sedgwick has retaken the lead.
He has, and in fact he's looking to try and drag Crowles with him. Those two can be found at circuits in the Euro NASCAR frequently, as it happens anyway, as I've had the pleasure of being at Brands Hatch for the American Speed Fest with them several times, leading the comms there in my favourite event of the year, and he's dragged him through. So suddenly Aaron Smith has gone from the lead down to 3rd, but equally you've got to sit there and go, well, that means it can go the opposite direction as well. And in fact, right onto the back of them, look, is Irvin in the number 9 car, the turquoise and black number 9 car. He's all the shenanigans going on ahead of him. He's just bolted himself onto the back of Aaron Smith. Aaron, in fairness, I mean, when we interview him, Chaz, he's the most calm, collected character I think I've ever come across.
Yeah, he really is. And then when he gets behind the wheel, he just turns into this really instinctive, animalistic racer. He's just so... He just seems so calculated in what he does. He doesn't push beyond any sort of necessary risks, and he just gets on with the job. And to be honest, I think today is going to be a case of these guys really managing the race in the long run. This is still going on, by the way. Mark Murphy still can't find a way past Jonathan Hill. They both started in 7th and 8th, and they're both in the same positions where they started now. We'll show you the gains on the left-hand side just so you can get an idea. Only a little bit of movement in the field. Despite his incident, Ivan Bauman's has only dropped down 2 places so far. He's actually just done his fastest lap of the race as well. So now he's actually got a bit of clean air and he's not in the wall. He's actually putting some times in. But look at this at the front though, Chris. To be honest, usually you see a lot of battles in the mid-pack with this sort of stuff and you get a bit of a breakaway leader, but we're not getting that tonight.
No, I mean, or it'll be like a couple of them, won't it, at the front, whereas this time we've got a train of 4 with, it looks like Adrian Burks is trying to get involved, and the all-black car is that just trying to get involved of Saunders as well. Reece Saunders, the black car with no number on it, although he is number 91. So we can't make it out anyway, and it has now become 5. So there's Burks now right on the back of this quartet. It's become a quintet, and then what is it, sextuplet? I don't know. That's
it won't
he's
be.
hit the wall.
Yep, Reece Saunders has just made a mess of that. No yellow for it though.
Bronco all the way down the straight there, wasn't it? Goodness me.
I had to second guess what you said for a second there.
Yeah, you worried then, didn't you?
I did.
Where's the dubbing button?
Oh, it's just sort of washed up to the right, and to be fair, that's a great save as well, because once these things start going, they really do like to go, but he's managed to save it. Now Jonathan Hill has lost out to Mark Murphy, and he's got Guillaume Hesno behind him. Guillaume has moved up 3 places so far, biggest mover in the field. And to be honest, I reckon that we're going to see him climb the order even further. But we're going to go back on board with Cedric. We're going to look back now. Love this camera. You can see all the grooves in the circuit as well. It's one of those tracks where the surface looks like it's been combed all the way around. And it's really abrasive on the tyres. Honestly, I've spent too long combing my hair to know that's what it looks like.
All right, don't rub it in. And for anybody who don't know, I haven't had to comb my hair for years, sadly.
But you know what I mean, though. It's one of those sort of grooved circuits like the Indianapolis tarmac is as well. I mean, the Formula One visits there used to have tyre issues because of this sort of surface. You know, once they wash up over the banking, it really does harm the tyres. So I think these guys are going to have to be careful with it. They said that the run was like, what, 45 laps most on tyres tonight? Was that on fuel?
I don't think we'll make it to that 35 to 40, really.
Oh, it was, yes.
I mean, fuel's about 40, but tyres probably 35 to 40. Unless they start realising, I mean, we're going green for a good chunk here, and that was the point, is that if the safety car comes out, you know, and we go full course yellow earlier, then they'll dive in and they'll change. Well, I say they'll change those tyres. They've got a limit of 5 tyres, including the set that they've started on, so they need to be wary of that. But what we might find, in about another 10 laps or so, you might find them trying to save the tyres. Now, I'm not really au fait for this one about what kind of groove that they want to get into, which channel is going to save their tyres the most. And we've had some tracks, haven't we, Chaz, where if they sit in their sort of channel 2, then it will save their tyres a little bit more. And we see them doing it. Oh, we got a caution now.
We've got a yellow come out. I'm just trying to see who has gone down the order. Reece Saunders again has dropped down, I'm afraid. Gil Linster went past him. Justin Naya has gone past him as well. Let's see what's gone on here. Let's go back to Reece Saunders. Oh, this was the earlier incident. Let's try and see if has something happened to him again. It keeps ticking back to Gil Linster. Oh, he's hit the wall again this time. And then all the flaps deploy for that one. That looks fantastic as that happens there. And then as the car comes to a stop, he's right near the middle of the circuit. So,
well, he did well to keep it down low there, didn't he? To not sort of go back up into the oncoming traffic. But it clearly goes to show there, as they come off the banking onto the to the straight, when you go from banking to flat, is that it really is a challenge. We've seen it as a few, although actually he's hit that banking early on the exit there, hasn't he? So it was probably just before it really leveled out. But until you actually have a crack at these, it's difficult to understand how hard that is. He says, pretending to sound like an expert, but you know, it really is. When you go from banking to flat, when you've gone from, you know, curving round to suddenly going straight on, you know, the steering wheel for straight will already be, you know, partly to the left or whatever. You know, they will set it up accordingly. And you could see that for a couple of laps there, that was a bit of a struggle for him.
Yeah, it's easy to wash out wide on a track like this because it's not really like you've got a long straight and then all of a sudden you have to slow down a lot for the corners. It's very much a momentum circuit.
I'm just going to jump in, is that not that many went into the pits, but Aaron Smith has. So number 70, Aaron Smith, died for the pits. Cedric, Krause, Burks, Irvin, Naya, they haven't done. Neither's Blancart, but Aaron Smith, who's down to 7th now after that pit stop, he has done it, and where's he going? He's going to bolt himself. He's going to throw the anchors out the back at last and bolt himself onto the back. Now that's interesting. Now I felt that it was probably a little bit early to make a pit stop. He's thrown the dice here, and I guess the fact that he'd gone from lead to third, he may as well do something a little bit different to those around him. Either that, or the likes of Cedric, because we know he's a cheeky wind-up scamster, is that he'll have dummied down as if he was going to go in the pits, and poor Aaron Smith starts aiming down there and doesn't get time to drag it back up again.
Yeah, you never know with Alex. He's like you say, he does like to stir the pot and have a bit of fun with these guys. I only just noticed as well that I mean, I saw by the team name that these guys were in the same team, but the Team Lightning livery looks fantastic on those cars. Huge fan of that.
Just.
And
Yeah.
it's nice to see them in unison.
I hadn't clocked that they're both the same.
Yeah.
Exactly the same. Thanks, guys.
This is, now. Hans Blankart's got something on his bonnet, and Justin Naya hasn't. So if it's from the front, we're fine. Oh, and the fact that one's a Chevrolet and one's a Ford.
That'll do it.
I didn't notice that. Professional commentators there in the box, everybody. Mark Murphy, Paul Irvin, and Alex Sedgwick are the only guys that are currently where they started, as well as race control, obviously, in 15th.
Which one's Murphy there? Because there we go. So that's the sort of grey and turquoise, I suppose it is, because I hadn't got his details there. Thank you.
It's a very tasty livery, that, actually. Grey does suit that car. There was a couple of cars had the sort of grey primary colour in the 2015 season, and they looked absolutely beautiful. And I think that it is definitely a sort of military grey.
With them.
It's a military grey.
I thought we were supposed to have your mate, Jack Werrell, racing tonight as well.
He's actually got commentary duties elsewhere, because it was originally going to be on a Thursday night. So he was going to be able... Actually, no, it was last Wednesday it was going to be on, I think. Or we were going to do one on we were going to do one on a Friday. And then we postponed it. So, unfortunately, Mr. Werrell is commentating.
His dad and I commentate together an awful lot, so I was looking forward to that.
Yeah, we could have picked fun at his driving, and to be fair, it's quite an interesting one actually, because you and his dad commentate together, and me and Jack commentate together as well. So
yeah, absolutely. And now me and you do as well.
Yeah,
in the real world as well.
Indeed, it's like a big love triangle, square, oblong.
Love it, yeah.
Certainly is, mate. Certainly is. But
on that note, thank you everybody who's tuned in. We can see you there. We can see your comments. David DeMeyer, hi to all. Go, Brian Krause, says David. And it's good to see so many of you in. Jamie McNeil says, nice left turn there. I think that was where he didn't turn left and went straight on, you cheeky monkey. But welcome to you all. And yes, it's going to be innate ramblings through this as well, because it's a darn good giggle, as is the racing and everything. I mean, every single time we've done this, it's just got better and better and better, hasn't it?
Oh, it has, definitely. We have a lot of fun doing it. The guys enjoy the stream, and at the end of the day, the people behind the wheel, they love racing in this as well. And Alex and the guys do a great job at putting on some really fun racing. They've got really good ambition at heart with it as well. And it's not overly serious, they're still competitive, and everyone still has a good time, and it doesn't get spoiled.
Still the banter in the driver's briefing, isn't it?
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, exactly, like me and my sriracha sauce issues earlier. But, yeah. I have to say, though, that livery on Adrian Burke's car, and actually Paul Irvin's livery as well, they look really good on that Chevy. And to be honest, I think that's one of my favourite NASCARs ever, that Chevy. I just think it just looks bulky and it looks right. But those two liveries really do complement that, so that's a very pretty second row. As the guys are now lining up for the restart here. So, Aaron Smith then, Chris. One of two yellow cars in the field today, but very unmistakably just plain yellow. How do you think he's going to do on this restart? Do you think the difference in the tyre life will make that much of a change?
Do you know what? My biggest concern here is we've seen it before where he's circumstantially been further down the field and he's got involved in jiggery-pokery going on. And I'm hoping if he can, again, to use one of my overused phrases, keep his powder dry, he will be okay. And you're absolutely right, is that surely... I mean, it's such a tricky one. If they've only got 5 sets of tyres...
Yeah.
He doesn't want to kill these off now. 14 laps was the point where the caution came out. That's early in 200-lap race to be switching over. And that's the only thing. I mean, he isn't going to want it to have topped up. Now, we don't really know what he did, do we, at the moment, sadly? Did he just top up the fuel to try and stretch out how long he's going to stay on these tyres? I don't know.
Well, one way to find out, we'll keep an eye on his pace, but someone who wants to keep an eye on his own pace is Alex Sedgwick, and he's away at the front. Look at that, that's a slingshot of a launch there. Brian Krause and Adrian Burke's going with him. Paul Irvin got caught out a bit. Aaron Smith's gone up high there in the first of the 2 yellow cars in the midfield. Second place, the battle is on for these guys though. Brian Krause around the outside of Adrian Burke's, making that one work. There is Aaron Smith. The pace that he's carried out of turn 1 though says, I've got tyre life.
Yes.
Guillaume Hesno is just behind there with Jonathan Hill in there behind him. Just a quick reminder of the pit stops, just so you can see who has stopped and how many times. It is Smith, Hesno, Hill, Murphy, Saunders, Rex Linster. They have all pitted in this one.
Blankart's lost out massively there. Look, he's down to, 13th place, and yet he was literally the row below his teammate, Naya, or was he even in front? I think he was just behind him.
Yeah.
Naya's still up there in what's that, 5th position. So not sure what happened to Blancart on that restart, but he got absolutely hung out to dry somehow.
Yeah, let's have a quick check just while the guys sort each other out there. So Hans Blancart is on the high line in the dark blue and magenta car. I'm going to go magenta, not pink.
Magenta. You big tart.
I've been looking at too many web colour codes and RGB scales. So, he lights them up. The back end steps out a bit. And is he just going to get forced to the high line here? Yeah, Mark Murphy goes down the inside. He just gets hung out. There's something wrong there. Something didn't quite work for him. And yeah, he just gets swallowed up by the field, I'm afraid. But here's Brian Crowles then. 2nd place at the moment, trying to chase down Alex Sedgwick. Just behind Paul Irvin is this lot. Jonathan Hill, Aaron Smith.
Hill's got a good run there, hasn't he? He's about to dive up the inside of the magenta and blue 77 Naya. He's looking up the inside. He's not managed, and in fact, he's the one that's now under pressure from the yellow car of Aaron Smith, number 70, and it's not worked as it stands. Jonathan Hill has made the move up into 5th, so through goes the black and white with the red flashes of Jonathan Hill. So a great move there from the number 84. Now Aaron Smith trying to make a move on Naya, and as it stands on the scoreboard, he's done it. Through goes the bright yellow number 70, but Naya trying to come back at him. Oh, and he's run very wide, and he's then dived down to the inside. Goodness me, that was from a torrid moment to suddenly nearly working out for him, and he's now glued to the back of the number 70 car of Aaron Smith. Incredible job. But look out, coming up the inside, here comes Murphy, number 68.
Yep, Murphy on the back of him now. We go on board just to see what it looks like from his nose point of view. And you can see he's just trying to take a lower line there, letting the revs drop all the way down. Just gets on the throttle a bit just to carry the speed. Side by side now with Justin Naya. We'll go to a camera where we can actually see the pair of them. But, Justin, because he's on that outside line though, he makes it work there, doesn't he, Chris? Doesn't quite get the overlap.
It's just as well, because he came sweeping down with no bones to make, but it compromised him again. Diving towards the inside goes Murphy, the 58 car, and he's done it. That just sort of left him up wide there, isn't it? So it's interesting that it looks like there's a couple of different lines, and it isn't guaranteed, but Adrian Burke's under massive pressure now from Hill. So Hill's on the charge. He's up into 3rd place now. Somebody's fed him his shredded wheat during that safety car, hasn't he? Jonathan Hill's absolutely flying.
He has indeed, and Alex was saying as well before this one that now they've changed the machinery up a little bit. There's some of these guys have really got a good hand on it, and they're very, very quick. Aaron Smith there just getting past Paul Irvin. So Aaron makes his way through. Very tasty. Guillaume Hesno passes Justin Naya as well. Or does he? He's trying. He's down the inside into 3 and 4. They've got Jonathan Rex behind. Jonathan Rex is another one that Alex was telling me beforehand, actually. He's a lot quicker in these cars than he was in the Xfinity cars, so keep an eye on him as the race progresses. Justin Naya is very friendly with that wall, isn't he? But I tell you what, he gets a ruddy good run down there, though, on that tri-oval.
But we saw that happen last time, and then it's interesting what happens on the next phase, is that's where he then seems to lose out. Now, does he do the same again? Yeah, look, see, he washes out wide there. That's where he's losing it, because diving up the inside now is going to come Rex. He's not managed to quite do it, but you saw how he went from the aggressor to the defender all of a sudden there. He gets very close to the wall coming out of, I've lost my bearings as to which corner it is, but dives down the track to make it work for him. But then the next corner, he washes out very, very wide, almost as if he's taken just that little bit too much pace into it, and they're able to dive up the inside of him.
Yeah, he's taken a bit more of a middle line there, but still... I think he's not quite got that line dialed in yet. Back near the front, though, Jonathan Hill is really on a mission here, mate. He's down the inside of Brian Crowles already. And this guy wants to go to the front. Yeah.
Jonathan Hill has stopped, so, the assumption there is going to be he's on fresh rubber as it stands at the moment, so he's going to be diving up the inside of Brian Crowles. Brian Crowles, ooh, he washes out very wide there. And so Jonathan Hill now just powers up the inside. And look at the pace he's able to take on that tight line there. Is just incredible. And so you can see that Sedgwick, he's got to be looking in his mirrors. I don't know whether he's going to know that Jonathan Hill's been in.
Looking at his window now.
Well, exactly. But, Alex Sedgwick is going to be wily enough. If he knows that Jonathan Hill has been in, he's going to go, well, then there's no point me having this fight right now. He's got to try and make his tyres last a little bit longer. What are we at? Lap number, I can't quite make that out.
At the moment.
30.
So
So, he's going to want to make these tyres last at least another 10. So Jonathan Hill on his fresh rubber takes the lead. An incredible job he's done. Very patiently picking his way through there into the lead. And he's going to have the kudos at least of leading some laps. Sedgwick suddenly turns into defending from Crowles. Those two on exactly the same strategy at the moment.
Yeah, they both haven't pitted yet on this one. Everyone else pitted on lap 15 it was. But Crowles just chasing him down. But nice to see the two white, blue and red retro liveries at the front, though. They look very, very good. And I do like the one on Jonathan Hill's car. Just shows you that sometimes a simple livery is an effective one, depending on what you put it on. But Brian Crowles is all over the back of Alex Sedgwick now. But like you were saying a moment ago, Chris, I don't think he's going to want this fight at this point. He's just going to follow him and just wait to see what Alex plays on the strategy card. And maybe even just copy him, just so it's, we're not even a quarter of the way through the race yet. So he doesn't need to take any risks or push too hard, as we've got a bit of a position change here. Jonathan Rex and Gil Linster side by side through the triover. Gil Linster looks like he's got some good pace around the outside there in the 44. I think there's some damage actually to the right hand side of Jonathan Rex's car, so we'll have a quick look at what caused this, if it is in this part. Oh yeah, I think he's just clipped the wall on the exit of that corner there, and then Gil gets the move done. So another one there, Chris, just falling foul of that wall on the outside.
Well, it shows is that, quite a number of laps, they'll just look like they're in the absolute groove, don't they? The way, just on rails, and then suddenly they'll just wash. And interestingly for me, it's not quite as obvious and pronounced as some of the circuits we watch them on, where the tail end will suddenly get a bit snappy. It's not that. It just literally four-wheel drifts out towards that wall, doesn't it?
Yeah, they do like getting loose, these cars, but like you say, it's not like the front continues to stick. They really do float, these cars. They're on the limit of adhesion very often. So when
another
they do
one of my phrases, seeing as Ben Album saying as it's Dawsey bingo, another one of my phrases is that as they're coming through the corner, they're like a dog trying to change direction on a solid kitchen floor. They're trying to go to the left, but the cars keeps going right.
Yeah, I like that. That's very good. There are some absolute corking phrases out there, to be fair, and a lot of them when you came out with them, I was witness, everybody, to the switcheroo in real life, and I nearly fainted, didn't I, Chris?
You did. I got a photo of it and everything.
But no, some good moves going on at the moment, though. Paul Irvin hasn't made as much progress up front. He seems to be struggling on these tyres at the moment. Gil Linster's going to try and go around the outside, carrying some nice speed there, but that's not going to work just yet. He's going to try and cut down to the inside now, and again, looks like Paul Irvin's just thinking, I don't need to scrap with you now. We're too early in the race for me to risk an incident. I'm just going to look after my tyres and play the game I want to play. Just ahead of these, Adrian Burks is getting closed in on now by Aaron Smith as well, and Aaron Smith very close to the wall that time round. We'll go on board and see how it looks from Aaron, though, see if you can see the gap disappearing. I mean, look at the mid-corner speed difference there. I mean, off the corner it's not so different, but mid-corner's mad.
It is, isn't it? I mean, but I'm still perplexed by this one, is that we haven't seen the speed differentiation from Aaron Smith, who's pitted. Oh, look at that. Goodness me. It's like the bucking bronco all the way around that corner there, isn't it? Trying to keep it under control. But, he hasn't had the speed differentiation that we've seen with Jonathan Hill, who's managed to work his way up into the lead of this fight on what we have to assume is fresh rubber from the way he did it. But, Aaron Smith hasn't looked the same. Now, either that's that he didn't change rubber because he felt it was too soon, they've only got 5 sets of tyres, or he has, but he's determined not to absolutely crucify these tyres early on in this stint, and he's now got to accept that he's going to be out of step with everyone else, and he's got to make it work. Yeah,
I think he does need to push. He got caught out on the brakes a little bit there by Adrian Burks. He was sideways going into 3 and 4. That was crazy. We've got Paul Irvin in the pit lane and seemingly disappearing for some reason. Not quite sure what's happened there. Let's have a look at the car. See if we can catch him. Here he is. He slows it down. Heads towards the pit lane. This might be a bit anticlimactic here, everybody. Into the pits.
Not the first time you said that, is it, mate?
No. Oh, he just pulls it over and something must have gone on outside of the sim there, I think, maybe, or hardware issue or something, but I hope everything is all right for Paul. But here is Smith and Burke, these two as well. Some guys we've seen battling quite a lot in the Vertex Stock Car Cup, and once again, at it again in these machinery.
Yeah, I mean, Burks for me was getting stronger and stronger toward the tail end of season 2. But you were saying that he was actually coming back to what had happened previously, and he'd just gone quiet at the beginning of season 1, and he's back to what you saw in season 1. Is that correct? If I'm remembering that correct?
Yeah. Adrian, to be fair, when he made his debut in the championship at Homestead Miami, he was right up there for the whole race. And he does like this format. He's very good on the ovals, and we saw that at Charlotte Roval last season. It was definitely not his bag there. He didn't really enjoy that one, and he didn't have much practice either, so it just amplified his issues. But he's doing well at the moment, though. 5th place in the 72. Obviously, he wasn't going to stick with Aaron Smith in that situation. Justin Nye's just come in the pit lane as well. But back at the front, Jonathan Hill stretching his legs a bit here. He's got a bit of breathing room over Alex Sedgwick, 1.8 seconds. And then there's 3 seconds back to Brian Crowell. So the top few starting to spread out here, mate.
Well, this is interesting now. We're at that lap 40 point, which is about the fuel window. Now, you'd think they could stretch it a little bit more because we were under caution for, I don't know, for a good few laps. Aaron Smith in again. Now, that surprises me. That does not make sense whatsoever. That's his second stop, so I'm not sure on that one. The only thing maybe he didn't take on fuel. He just did tyres on that first one, or it could be vice versa. We just have no idea what he's done, do we? But to be coming in, I was about to say, lap 40 is about the pit window we were expecting. Fuel to be able to last around about that long. But as I was about to say, is that you would think with the number of laps we were under caution, Adrian Burks is in as well, is that they'd actually be able to make it last a little bit longer than 40. Yeah,
it's certainly thrown all of my calculations and ideas off, because I don't know whether it's just Aaron trying to make things spicy for himself, because he's been guilty of it before, hasn't he? Where he said, I've just come in and took a bit of extra fuel, or took 2 tyres and just thought, why not? But
yeah, true.
Yeah, bit of an odd one, that.
I mean, he's now down to 11th place, for goodness sake. I mean, that is not where you'd expect Aaron Smith to be running. We know that Jonathan Hill clearly went onto fresh rubber to move up, and Mark Murphy's clearly diving towards the pits as well now, as has Brian Crowles. Brian Crowles has dived as well, but this is a little bit more understandable because we are at the sort of pit window. These guys chose not to come in that, the original sort of caution. That means that Sedgwick hasn't come in yet. Crowles has. You questioned whether they'd copy each other. The answer's no.
No, it's...
Hill's in.
Oh,
hang on, that's even more confusing.
Oh, he's not always around. Jonathan Hill, on the way in, has managed to spin it. That's going to lose him a bucket load of time. He's lighting up the rears, so he clearly doesn't want those tyres anymore. But that is going to be massively frustrating for him. Let's just have a look at how he managed that. So he's getting it slowed down, 3, 3 and 4. And it's not the easiest of things to do, because these cars don't like being adjusted on the brakes or anything. And it's already wiggling a bit. And again, he's going to slam on here. Oh, the back end's around. Just misses the cone, but it's a tiny spin. He should have just planted the throttle in that situation and kept it spinning. But he's stopped and got going again. Alex Sedgwick now in the pit lane as well here, Chris. So the top few, while they're not all in on the same lap, it's going to start putting things off kilter a bit.
Well, that means that everybody, now that the Sedgmeister's been in, is that that's everybody that has been in at least once now. So that kind of sorts that one out. But there was still some interesting people that had stopped under that caution and have come in again. That really does surprise me. Now, maybe for Jonathan Hill, he's gone, well, if Alex is going to come in anyway, I may as well. And he may have intended to just do fuel. Who knows?
Yeah, I never know with him. He's, like we were saying before, is actually Aaron Smith has gone past him now after the second stop. Interesting. So whether Aaron's done 2 shorter pit stops, let me have a look at the pit stop times. Yeah, Aaron Smith's pit stop, Guillaume Hesno's stop was 5.9 seconds. Aaron Smith's was 10.6 and Alex Sedgwick's was 14.8 seconds. Jonathan Rex had a 32-second stop earlier on. So for anyone that's taking all 4 tyres, they're about 14 seconds by the look of it, 14, 15. Well, Aaron Smith had a 10-second pit stop, and Guillaume Hesno, I mean, I don't know what sort of substances he's been feeding his pit crew, but they've done 5.9 seconds. Surely they've forgot something.
I mean, it just is intriguing what they've done. Of course, don't forget they can choose to actually just change tyres along one side, and they're going to have a feel for what's happened to their tyres. They're going to have presumably the graphical display that's going to tell them the condition of their tyres as well. And you know, we had in some of the early stages. Is that someone else dived into the pits there? That's one of the. Oh no, it's just moving out of the way.
I think it was Hans Blankart just coming out of the pits there. He's just left. Okay.
Fine. Yeah, the 33 car, good spot, and he's getting up to speed quickly. He needs to be fair. And yeah, we had you know, the likes of Connor Mills that more at the tail end of a race is that he suddenly just changed one side, which he knew was struggling. It made it a quicker pit stop, so he was able to get straight back out again. And he was then fighting for the lead. However, I think he then was struggling at the end because the other side was dead as a dodo. So yeah, you've got all these interesting things that they can choose to do that you wonder whether maybe that's another possibility we've thrown in for Aaron Smith, is that when he came in under the caution, he only changed one side.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually, because we've seen some of these guys take those risks. As you say, Connor Mills was a big fan of doing so. Guillaume Hesno is in the pits again. So I think he looked like he was struggling through 1 and 2 a moment ago.
I was about to say he did, didn't he? He was being the 33 Blankart car was just out of the pits and already putting him under pressure and about to pass him. So he was off the pace, wasn't he?
That's those fronts flat spotted, Guillaume. Wow. But yeah, he's having another stop then. Jonathan Rex is currently second, 12 places gained. Gil Linster leads this race in the number 44. We just had the fastest lap of the race 2 laps ago by Alex Sedgwick. So it shows that the new rubber is working. The track is probably getting a little bit quicker, and having the clean air is certainly helping him at the moment. But I like this part of the race because it's all thrown up in the air a little bit. I'm even going to bring in something I don't usually use. I'll bring in the track map on the right so you can just see how beautifully spread out this is. But look at the number 7 there, Jonathan Hill. Sorry, the number 7 on the map, I mean, just behind your race leader, just on the right-hand side now. Jonathan Hill is so much quicker than Gil Linster at the moment, as Jonathan Rex comes in the pits. And Gil Linster pitted on lap 15, Jonathan Hill pitted on at lap 43. This is the difference, look at it. Round that corner, we'll go on board. Look at Jonathan Hill just drive away with that traction mid-corner, and off the corner as well.
Yeah, that's quite incredible, but obviously that was unlapping himself presumably there.
Yeah.
Such was the mix-up. But lap time-wise, you look at Gil Linster's lapping in the 35s. Aaron Smith's up to second now, by the way. That must be Jonathan Rex went into the pits. That's why that one was. So up into second goes Aaron Smith. He's lapping in the low 33s. Alex Sedgwick, who is in third, possibly, is he getting? Yeah, I was about to say he's getting up with Aaron Smith, and he's lapping in the 32. So this second and third place battle is critical, and that to me smacks of 4 new tyres compared to possibly not.
Yeah, indeed. Alex has got this thing nailed by the look of it. He takes the lower line as well, so he makes me get rid of everything that I've just brought up on the overlay for that very short period of time. Cheers, Alex. Side by side, though. Oh, Aaron had a little bit of a wobble on the outside there. They're both in the Chevy, these guys, so not much to choose between them, but honestly, the amount of times we've seen these battling.
And I mean, these guys, you know, you take Aaron Smith, everyone knows that Alex Sedgwick is obviously a pro racer, especially in these things as well. But, you know, Aaron Smith has been an absolute revelation in this, and he won season 2. He's just secured the championship on the last time that I was out with you guys, and he is an incredible racer out there. So for Alex to be able to do it relatively easy, you've got to say, in the grand scheme of things, there is that cannot possibly be 4 fresh tyres on Aaron Smith. Maybe he did the first time and he's just gone and taken fuel. The problem is we just don't know the details at the moment, do we?
No, that's it, and that's one thing I do wish that we could have, is just some sort of indication or knowledge on what they've done, what they've changed, and obviously that's
not that they'd let us know anyway, because it'd tell their competitors, wouldn't it, I guess?
Yeah,
but
yeah, definitely, that's it. It's very cards against your chest in this this situation. Closest 2 cars on track at the moment are Justin Naya and Reece Saunders. Justin is just in his rear view. Sorry. Saunders, though,
get out.
He'll be looking in his mirror at the moment just to see whether that blue and magenta car gets any closer. Jonathan Rex is actually closing in on these boys as well now. And the gap was a second back to Justin Naya. Now it's half a second, so he is on fresh rubber in comparison. 12 laps newer, his tyres, than Justin Naya. So he's starting to show the advantages of that, even though it's only a smaller gap compared to the 15 versus 50 tyres that we saw before, if that makes sense. He's now actually already overtaken him in the time I've said it. So there you go. And to be honest, coming back to the surface, I think that's what it comes down to, because of how abrasive this surface is. Just having tyres that are like 5 laps newer could make a humongous difference over the course of this race, for sure.
It is, and I've got to be honest, where I've got Facebook open to see people's comments and it's muted, so I've got the text comes up. I'm waiting to see whether it actually says humongous when you say that bit, but I'm interested to see if it does that. I'd love it if it did. But no, and now the fact that we've got the just a huge mix. It does say humongous. I've just seen it, by the way. To see the variety of tactics that have been employed thanks to that one safety car. We're 57 laps down and we've only had one caution. It's fantastic to see, which is what Alex was hoping would be the case. A lot more green flag running, and it means that we've just got such a mix going on. But we've seen Jonathan Hill on, going in for what I would suggest was 4 new tyres on that caution, and he came screaming through the field. Aaron Smith didn't, and yet we would expect him to. So that made me wonder whether it was 4 new tyres, or he was just trying to sort of protect them a little bit. He's been in again. Jonathan Hill's been in again, and we've now got differences. Linster's now dived towards the pit, so Alex Sedgwick is now leading the race.
Yeah, Gil Linster finally gives it up. He pitted on lap 15 for those tyres, so they are 45 laps old, essentially, once he crosses the line anyway. But they've been pushed to their very limit at the moment, it's safe to say. But here's your race leader then, number 8, Alex Sedgwick. Aaron Smith just in the background a shot, with Brian Crowles again just in the background a shot. So the gap is about 3.5 to 3.7 seconds between each of those guys, so it's nice and even at the moment. Rhys Saunders has now got Jonathan Rex behind him. Now he's dispatched of Justin Naya. So Jonathan Rex, another one that is just on a mission through the pack. After that little kiss with the wall earlier, he's really lighting up at the moment. That speed into that lower line is just... it's crazy, the difference. But to be honest, on the straights, you've not really got that long to get a slipstream like you have at a super speedway. So you've got to make every single corner count, and if you're getting stuck behind someone like Jonathan Rex is here, where you can't quite carry as much speed as you want to... oh, nearly contact between them on the right there. That was incredibly close. Absolutely nail-biting stuff there. I thought they were going to make contact, surely. Let's have another look at that. Watch Rhys Saunders here. So Ivan Bauman's up high. Rhys just washes up high, nearly makes contact. I think they might have just kissed a little bit. Rhys does a good job of saving it, making sure that the car doesn't go all sorts of spinning. But, wow, they've both got past Ivan Bauman's now. But Rhys Saunders has lost out to Jonathan Rex and all of that, of course. And Jonathan now has gained 8 places here, Chris, to get up to 6. What a great race he's having.
Isn't he just? Yeah, and what has impressed me, certainly in the first phase when we saw it, we haven't noticed it this much, was that it's just the patience that he's using, and he's just cleanly picking his way through, which is really, really impressive. But just watching that there, I mean, it made me look back at the notes we've got about this, is that expect there to be 2 to 3 different lines used throughout the night. I think we just saw it used throughout the corner then, didn't we? 2 to 3 different lines. I mean, it's just incredible. Yeah,
it's the beauty of this sort of racing is that there are so many. There you are, there's 3 of them. Oh my goodness me. Oh. That was the 2 Team Lightning cars coming very close to an accident. Justin Naya just going lapping his teammate Hans Blankart as that is Guillaume Hesno that has come through, and then Aaron Smith is a lap ahead of these guys. So we'll bring up the track map again just so you can see. And it really is a big mix now. There's a lot of them on the back straight, but they are starting to lap each other quite a lot now. So the mixing will really start up. And weather, to be honest, you don't always think about lap traffic in these scenarios, but that is going to be an issue for them now. And I can't imagine what they'd have in real life with a 40 car grid around here, or 43 as they have it. But I'll tell you what, even just a now 13 car grid around here, we've still got some epic racing, and we've still got traffic to think about. This is mega.
It is when you look at that, the second place Aaron Smith put in a place or putting a lap on. I think that's a 33 Blancat car, isn't it? That he's just got past there, and up ahead of him is this great battle between the car he's just passed teammate Naya and Hesno having their own battle. And I've always said, in fact, is that Hesno? No, that's Naya he's got past now, isn't it? Sorry, I do apologise. It is Naya he's got past. And Hesno is now ahead of him. And I was about to say, I thought those two were still fighting. I've always said there's one thing worse than back markers, and that's battling back markers. But he's kind of got away with that now, hasn't he, by the looks of it, because they've spread themselves out.
Yeah, just about, though. And to be fair, it gives Alex Cedric a little bit more breathing room, although it doesn't from Rhys Saunders, who is like a mafia boss in the black Ford, just chasing him down at the moment. Looking very sceptical. It's a very evil-looking car, though, especially with a bit of damage on the front right. Looks certainly very grumpy.
Does, doesn't it? It looks awesome.
It does look very angry.
and of course, you know, that to me suggests that we've got a variation in, Alex Cedric's only been in once, Rhys Saunders been in twice, and it meant that you could see a difference there in despite Cedric being so much quicker in general, is that, you know, he was under some massive, and he still is to some extent, isn't he, from Rhys Saunders? 7th place and a lap down. Doesn't need to worry about it just yet. I mean, we're not even at half race distance yet, are we? So it's plenty of time. I mean, the interesting one actually was that lap 67 now, isn't it? So we're rapidly approaching the sort of second pit window point if you stayed out until lap 40. And as we know, is that there's a big old mix. So we're going to start seeing some more green flag pits coming up soon, I think. We
will do indeed. We certainly will, and this is effectively Hamilton versus Bottas, isn't it? 77 versus 44 right now. As Gil Linster...
You might get sued for that, but that's fine.
Yeah, potentially. I'll risk it. I'll risk it. But this is Gil Linster on the back of Justin Naya. This is for position. Gil, of course, on newer tyres by 20 laps. Justin Naya pitted on lap 38. It doesn't take a mathematician to figure out, based on what I've just said, when Gil Linster pitted. Look at the difference. He has to get out of it, though, just to not hit the back of the Team Lightning car. But he's gone around him quite nicely there, a little bit of a cutback. And through he goes into 9th position for Gil Linster. He's got Hesno 4.6 seconds up the road now, and the field is very spread out. These are the closest two cars on track, actually, 0.6 of a second apart, and that gap is now growing. But like you say, Chris, before too long now, I think we're going to see, maybe just into the mid-70s here, we're going to start seeing some of these guys come in for more tyres. And of course, more fuel, depending on what they took on earlier.
Is that Brian Krause just ahead of Gil Linster there?
It is, yeah.
It is, isn't it? And yet, Brian Krause is in 3rd, and Gil Linster, look at the rate that he's closing in to unlap himself from the 3rd place Brian Krause. That 48 car, I'm trying to decipher that. Is that like is that gold or is that orange at the top, down to a sort of a dark blue?
Oh, I'd definitely go gold. Yeah.
I thought it was, yeah. But I mean, that goes to show what a difference the strategy plays in this. And you know, this isn't just here and now that this makes a difference, is that they're now trying to time this to the tail end. And, you know, it is... and we've got the move there going, so he's unlapping, and Brian Krause isn't going to put up a fight, surely. He doesn't need to. But the point being is they need to be in the pound seats come the climax of this race.
Yeah, you never know really what could change between now and the last part of this race, so you've just got to stick to your guns.
Blanket as well, by the way. 33's out of the race.
Yeah, he's disappeared as well, I'm afraid. That's a shame. Not quite sure what caused that. We'll have a quick look and just see. He's been overtaken at this point. It looks like, actually, no, he was already in the pits at this point when I've rewound it too, so we're not going to see him again this evening by the look of it. So, we're down to 12, but still, 3's a crowd, and, I mean, round Kentucky, it seems like 12 is more than a crowd, because even though there's not many cars on track by all accounts, it's still a busy racetrack, because these guys are all unlapping themselves and overlapping again, and it's just busy for all of them. Alex Cedric's got an 8.5 second lead over Aaron Smith now, so he's really getting on with it and trying to take another win on the ovals in the Vertex Stock Car Cup.
I mean, interestingly, Cedric and Smith are only lapping sort of about 0.3 different from each other at the moment, but the damage has already been done, isn't it? Cedric's now like over 8.5 seconds clear of Aaron Smith, and I mean, that's very unlike what we've seen. But Brian Krause, That looks to me as though he's less than 3 seconds behind Aaron Smith, but he's just had to sort of compromise his race a little bit there to allow the unlapping going on. But his lap times, what's he done? Yeah, he did lose a bit on that last one. But suddenly, interestingly, they've all lost a second on that last lap on their lap time. So I think we're starting to see things just get a little bit trickier for him.
It has updated actually. Krause he was a 10th and a half quicker last time, so he's just chipping away a tiny bit, like literally the tiniest of bits at Aaron Smith. And we all know that every 10th adds up, but we'll have to keep an eye on what they do. They almost did identical lap times. Oh, we've got a yellow. We've got a yellow this time
This
round.
is interesting. This changes everything now because everybody's going to pile in now. I cannot see this going any other way. Everybody's going to pile in now to the pits. Blancart's going again, the 33 car. That's good. So it was presumably a technical issue. Control-Alt-Delete, and he's back again.
There we go then. I've just had the message from Alex as well, actually. Thank you, Alex, for doing the race control today. It's his first time doing NASCAR race control. He said he was having a good laugh sorting out the rules and going through it all, but he's doing us an absolute gem today, so thank you, Alex, for helping out.
Do we know what this is for?
Sorry?
Do we know what this caution's for?
I'm just trying to have a look now through the event viewer and find out. However, I'm not sure. Maybe a competition caution? Maybe. I wouldn't be too opposed to one, to be honest, so maybe we do have one. Wondering whether Alex can confirm that for us and let us know, because that would be a nice little move, I think. What do you reckon?
Yeah, I mean, it's been more spread out than I recall at any other point. Oh, they're not all going in, look.
He's
the
actually
top 5 have gone in.
He says himself he's not sure what caused the yellow, so apologies, Alex, if I try to blame it on you. I'll tell you what, let's have a look at this. I don't want to highlight this if this is an issue by hands. However, I want to just check.
So he disappeared. He's now come back into the race.
I'm thinking, does he lose it coming out of the pits? I've seen stranger things go on in a race.
It is so easy to do in these cars, though. That's the problem.
Yeah. It really is. No, can't see anything. I mean, unless I'm being an idiot, I can't see anything wrong with that, to be honest.
No.
Gil Lindster and Justin Nair, they swapped places earlier. This was quite a while ago. Oh yeah, because he closed in on him, got it tucked in nice and low. Let's have a look. I'm just going to click the yellow and see what brings it up.
Now, Brian Krause was lost out massively. The other guys have pitted and gone back out again. Brian Krause, I don't know whether he went... No, he would have gone in as well, but he's only just coming out, so something went wrong with Brian Krause' pit stop then.
Oh, Alex has said that Jonathan Rex... Oh, yeah, Jonathan Rex has gone around, but it didn't bring up anything that he'd stopped. Alex has managed to message me while driving. Is he just going to kiss the wall? Oh, he is, and it goes around, and is it going to hit the other one? Oh, that's a big hit. Huge hit into the bottom wall.
It is.
That's a shame, that, because Jonathan Rex was on a real run as well. He was having a smashing race, and, well, pardon the pun, but he's back in the pit lane now with that damage. But look at this. This is properly mixed things up again, Chris.
Is it possible to have a look at Brian Krause's pit stop? He's lost out hugely there.
Yeah, we'll have a quick look now. Here it is. Let's see what happens from his point of view. See if we can go on a pit lane camera that catches it. No, we're not going to be able to see him properly from there. Here we go. So we'll see him compared to the other guys. We'll zoom in a little bit. So Alex is already up for tyres. So is Aaron. So is Brian. Maybe he got some of the damage repaired as an option as well. Although he does have a fast repair in this race. So not quite sure. It doesn't take any time to do. But he has sat there for a bit after that, hasn't he?
Mm.
I'm wondering whether he's been speeding in the pits or something, because that's he's done 45-second pit stop compared to the 15 of the guys around him. That smacks.
He needed a wee, didn't he? He needed a wee. That's what that is.
we have seen these guys do that. Well, I've not seen them do it, but we've been told they do it before.
I don't want to know.
Yeah. Alex actually did it in the 1987 Firecracker 200 that we ran just last week, and that was a funny one. He was gone for a while, put it that way. So funny. Yeah, he thought, oh, I'll just nip out for a wee and come back, and he lost about a minute, but he did a great recovery drive though. But even still, this race, I tell you what, I've got no idea now, honestly. We've got Adrian Burks, who's actually on tyres that he pitted on lap 41, but he's a lap down on the other guys around him here. He's still in 7th place, so he may be ahead of them on the road right now behind the safety car, but because he's not been properly lapped, because he's ahead of them on the road, he hasn't actually gone blue on everyone else's relative. Because in iRacing, in case you don't know anybody, when you're a lap ahead of someone, they will show up as blue on what you call your relative box. If anyone's on the lap ahead, they will turn up red, and then it's white on the same lap as you. And on our timing screens, we get that as well. And everyone is just white on Adrian's at the moment, except the couple of guys that have retired near the bottom. So he's not been properly lapped yet. However, he is effectively a lap down. I'm not sure whether he's going to get a wave around. We've actually got the lights still on the pace car, and coming into the pits there is Mark Murphy, and so too is Jonathan Rex, who's actually taken his fast repair, as you can see.
And so that means he's coming in again. Is that going to be a penalty rather than anything else? Or is he just...
Well, we'll keep an eye on him for a minute.
No, he is stopping, isn't he? So
let's have a quick check. Nice and smooth into his box.
Saunders is in as well. Reece Saunders, the jet black 91 car.
Yeah, that looked like a stop and go. The car didn't go up on jacks or anything. Interesting. 6 seconds.
That was a quick stop for Reece there. Reece Saunders is already coming out. Wow, that was a very short, sharp one for him.
I think
we may have had a few pit infringements.
Yeah, either that or it's fuel. They may not have taken as much fuel on. We've seen Aaron do it before, where he's taken on a bit of fuel in a pit stop and then come back in again because he decided to take more. So you never know.
Yeah.
But we've got the lights out on the pace car now. We're just coming on to lap 80 of 200, so not even halfway through this race yet, everybody. I hope you're enjoying the stream, though. Please remember to like and subscribe.
Adrian Burks is pitted. Sorry, Chaz,
no,
but he's just suddenly pitted from 7th. That's unusual, and that is for tyres.
Yeah, he was sitting on a lap down, wasn't he? So he had tyres that were on lap 41 he picked up, so they were nearly 40 laps old. So here we go again then, another restart. And the green flag's in the air, and Alex Sedgwick's foot is flat to the floor. Aaron Smith goes with him once again. If I had a quid. Hesno, though, he was
third again.
Yeah,
wow.
This is strangely sorted itself out a bit, though, hasn't it? In a way, very odd. Hesno's in the middle.
Is that Krause hasn't lost out at all in the end now, has he?
No, he's not. He hasn't. It's worked in his favour for sure. You've got Jonathan Hill and Hesno just to the right of his shot as well, and you've got Gil Linster, and alongside him is Jonathan Rex. Jonathan going very low. You can see the different lines by these boys up front. I'm just going to stay on this wide angle for a minute. I really do quite like this camera. But you can see a couple of the moves being made. Reece Saunders coming through as well in the background there. He's actually 5th overall, so he's lapping Gil Linster. Some of these guys are a lap down on one another. And Reece's car flying down the back straight. Reece is number 91, but you just can't see it on the side of the car. As Gil Linster lets Justin Nair, that was actually for position there. I was just going to say let's Justin Nair and lap himself, but that was for position between those two at the top of his shot. Adrian Burks is back in the pit lane, so something not quite going his way. Maybe he got done for speeding in the pits that time. I reckon that's definitely a penalty. We've got Mark Murphy here side by side. That's Gil Linster. Gil's just trying to make sure it isn't getting people's way now with him being lapped. And that's the difficult thing, really, isn't it, Chris? You want to get on with it and unlap yourself, as Justin Nair has a right tank slapper. You want to get on with your race, unlap yourself, and show the pace, but you can't really put up too much of a fight against these guys that are coming through and lapping you.
No, exactly right. And it was interesting to see is that we had the top 3 all together, but then there was a few interlopers behind that, wasn't it? Aaron Smith is absolutely flying now at the in that 2nd position, so Alex Sedgwick is going to be under growing pressure. Brian Krause looked like he was closing on them, but he's just lost slight contact with these two, relatively speaking. You probably still see that he's only just behind there. Yeah, you see he's fallen away a little bit. The good news for him is that that's a car behind him he doesn't need to fight with. That probably is that Guillaume Hesno just behind him, who's the 7th place car, number 68 possibly. But Krause originally on the restart, he was closing in dramatically, because I did like that wide camera you have, because you were able to see the variation of strengths and weaknesses at different parts of this circuit, which varies no matter what experience they've got. They all have their own strengths and weaknesses, clearly.
Yeah, that's it. Some of these guys are really good at getting the car sent in on the brakes and just getting it properly composed on the way in. But then some of them are better on the exit and controlling the throttle and making sure it doesn't spin the rears and doesn't oversteer. Or like Alex is as well. I mean, one thing I've noticed with Alex is that when the car does oversteer on the exit, he just manages to still carry the momentum really well. We'll go on board with Aaron Smith, and you can see on the left-hand side of his shot just how much he actually does soar at the wheel on the exit. A lot of the time he's actually turning slightly right, despite the car still going left. And look, even in a straight line, it's wiggling around all over the place, isn't it, Chris?
Oh, God, yeah, absolutely. And even just where I've sort of tried to have a little crack in these and I gave up because I didn't have a Scooby-Doo. I mean, it is just impossible, especially on this, because I guess this falls into that sort of tri-oval bracket for these guys to some extent. Apologies if I got that drastically wrong, but certainly looking at it, it's not just a straight oval. And it's amazing how much of a challenge that sort of extra peak along what would be a straight, but means that there's only actually one straight on this.
Yeah, definitely. And even though people just think, oh, these things are just flat out everywhere, they're really not. The actual art of it is just making sure that you control the throttle and make every single corner as smooth as you can. It is real raw motorsport, is this sort. And just because it's not on a really tight and twisty technical circuit doesn't mean it's easy, because I tell you what, I think this is
horrific.
It's a hell of a lot more difficult, I find. I can't find a way to be quick.
No, I'm useless. Absolutely 100. I mean, anybody that was watching knows that I'm not very good on sims, sadly, anyway. But I'm not bad. I'm just not very good. I'm not very quick. But you know, put me in these things, and it was just horrific. And I couldn't even get my head around how you do it. You know, you think, okay, well, that means I need to slow down to come into these bends. As Aaron Smith's still having a sneaky snifter, isn't he, at Alex Sedgwick, and he's got a good run there, but not managing to do it. But, you know, you think, oh, well, that means I need to slow down more for this. And you just end up being a sitting duck and thinking, well, they're just screaming past me. How are they able to do it? And it is about getting that balance absolutely on that razor-sharp knife edge into the corner, round it, and then off of it when you then sort of go onto the flatter straight compared to the banked corners. It's just incredible what these guys are doing.
Yeah, it really is. You've got to be so in control all of the time. And even on the shallow tri-oval, like you say, there's just no guarantee that you're going to make it round there safely. People in the real world have lost it there. And it looks like one of the most simple things to do when you've sort of had a lot of experience in motorsport. But just with how these cars are, they're not really made for downforce. They're not made for going in a straight line even. A lot of the guys do tend to turn right when they're going down a straight, but they're 875 brake horsepower and naturally aspirated V8s. They're just animals. No traction control, no ABS. They don't need any of that nonsense. I mean, you can see Aaron Smith there wobbling around. And Justin Nair and Gil Linster are side by side in the background, by the way. These two Fords just having their own little battle further down the order, but it's good to see them still fighting away. But honestly, they are just machines, absolute machines, these things. And they're so much fun to look at as well, and I think they really do look the part, they sound the part. I mean, for anyone that hasn't seen one in real life and thinks, oh, I've watched race cars before, I know they're loud. These things, honestly, I saw one at the Goodwood Festival of Speed years ago. It was one of the Chevy Cars of Tomorrow, and I believe it was the old 83 Red Bull car, and I've never heard a race car anywhere near as loud as this. And the smell, I mean, I've smelt jet fuel, racing fuel, like high octane stuff. I don't know what they were putting in it, but my God, it burns your eyes. It's incredible. They're proper race cars, I have to say. Apologies for the
I know that these are slightly different, or should I say the Euro NASCARs are slightly different again, but if anybody's not been to American Speedfest at Brands Hatch and watched a whole pack taken on the Indy circuit at Brands Hatch, and again a sneaky snifter from Smith, but not possible. You know, the noise, the feeling, you feel the noise as well as hear it. And the racing and the tactics and everything that comes into it is just phenomenal. It's my favourite commentary gig of the whole year, I have to be honest. And and I get the privilege of covering such a wide breadth of things, but the American Speedfest is just the absolute highlight of the whole year. And so if you've not been, you have to go and watch it. Alex Sedgwick, hopefully, will be back there next year. Brian Krause, he'll be there, but on the spanners, ironically, and we've both been saying, I think we need to see him behind the wheel, don't we, judging from how well he's done behind the wheel on during this lockdown on this.
Yeah, for sure. He's doing an amazing job as Brian, and he's a proper character as well. I really enjoy having a laugh with Brian. Yes. He's a very funny guy, and he's been taking the mick a little bit with his liveries and me, to be honest, but it's all in good fun. This is Jonathan Hill. That is not for position on Guillaume Hesno, and he's gone very deep into the final corner there. He's actually trying to chase after.
Got compromised, didn't he?
Yeah, he just sort of carried a bit more speed in there, and he had to get out of it. And it just shows you how much he can lose now, because Rhys Saunders behind him is for position. This is a fight for 4th place here, and Jonathan was massively compromised. Adrian Birks is the next car in the pack, ahead of Guillaume Hesno, but even that isn't for position. Oh, a bit sideways there from Rhys Saunders.
Wow.
That was tasty.
Well, wasn't it him that did it a couple of times in the early stages of the race, coming onto the straights?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, he kissed the wall a couple of times.
Yeah, so it goes to show how difficult it is, especially when he's then trying to sort of put a little bit more lead in the right foot there to challenge the car ahead of him that actually is for position. Jonathan Hill there just ahead of him in the white and black with the red numbers on it, that he knows that could get him up into the top 4. And they're now trying to get past. Is that Guillaume Hesno they're trying to get past? That's Murphy. That is position, that one, isn't it?
No, that's Brian Krause that's next on the road. That's Guillaume Hesno. He's just unlapping now. He's just putting a lap on him.
That's fine. That is Hesno 68. Which goes to show how close it is, look, because that's 4th and 5th, lapping 7th. So that's quite incredible.
Yeah, it's like an old Formula 1 race where like anyone lower than 4th was probably a lap down, and people moan about how F1's one-sided now, and it's very close. But anyway, there's an oval race going on. Alex Sedgwick has still... Alex Sedgwick's still got Aaron Smith right behind him there, and I love that Chevy. It's such a good-looking race car. It looks beefy, really beefy, and in the bright yellow, I mean, it's almost like a trademark of Aaron Smith now, isn't it, that colour scheme?
Well, no, because I want the black back on there, or the bumblebee. That's what we want, is that he is the wasp with the sting in its tail, as he suddenly bought out in the Season 2 of the Vertex Stock Car Cup. And I want to see that back again, mate. I love it. And I thought he'd stick with it because it brought him such success. But he's in the all-yellow this time round. And here's a prime example, is that he went tumbling down the order initially from the tactical call, that I'll be interested to hear the thinking behind when he decided on that first caution to dive into the pits, the only one of the top group that then suddenly brought him out in, off the top of my head, something like 7th or 8th place, I think it was, after that, and yet wasn't able to take full advantage of it, unlike Jonathan Hill, for example. So he's had to fight his way back through, and he's now sat there second, really challenging for the lead. Bearing in mind is that Alex at one point, what did he have? Something like an 8-second lead as well, did Alex Sedgwick. So it shows that you've got to have the patience. We're like a lap and a half away from ticking over to half race distance, and yet you can go from first to last to first again in just half of a race. Yeah,
it just shows you how quickly it can go on its head, doesn't it?
You've got to be patient, therefore, haven't you? And not lose your head just because something's gone awry. Don't panic. It could all change again yet.
Yeah, definitely. You've just got to plug away and just keep pushing, and that's the thing. I think that some of these guys do get a bit overly worried about strategies and who's doing what, but you've just got to focus on your own race and just make as much headway as you can every single corner. And at the moment, I mean, Sedgwick's opened up the gap a little bit here to Aaron Smith, but we know how quickly that goes downhill again. I mean, there's the commentator's curse. Alex runs a little bit wide through there, and Aaron's back on him. But these are the closest two on track. And we're at the halfway point now. Lap 100 out of 200. And, well, we knew this was going to be a long one, but there's plenty of places for these guys to make up the time. And plenty of time for them to do that. A bit further down the order, Guillaume Hesno has got Mark Murphy just lapping him. He's a little bit out of shape, is Guillaume Hesno there. It's all over the shop, that thing. I think he's got a bit of damage on the right-hand side from kissing the wall. And you can see there, that is not a car that's behaving itself. We'll go on board, watch the steering input on the left-hand side here. When he gets off the corner, the car is mucho lively. Ready? He's turning right. It's wiggling all over the place. It's not as exaggerated now I've started talking about it, but it will be. On the brakes even, they're still turning right. And that's the thing, a lot of people think, oh, these guys don't brake. But they do. They brake a lot, don't they?
Absolutely, without question. God, look at this, they're absolutely glued together there. It is just amazing to see this. I was sort of just reading the notes again and analysing what happened between Sedgwick and Smith at the front there, and looking at how the fact that lanes 1 and 2 are the slightly quicker lines to go through the corners, whereas lane 3 up at the top there is what will preserve your tyres a bit. Now, Alex was prepared to sit himself up there as if he's trying to just make his tyres last a little bit longer, whereas Aaron Smith, who you called it, he just dropped away from Sedgwick in that lead. He then took lanes 1 and 2 to try and close that in again, and it worked, and he's right there, but he's now taken a lot more life out of his tyres.
Yeah, there's a very, very difficult balance for these guys because, I mean, they're racing drivers and they want to push and they want to get ahead of the guy in front, and they'll take any risk to do it sometimes, but you've just got to think about the tyre life, and it's such a frustrating thing. I mean, it's one of the main principles of motorsport is if you've got knackered tyres, you're not going to be going anywhere. Aaron going right under the apron there as well. So he's just trying everything. He was a tenth quicker, well, half a tenth maybe, than Alex Sedgwick on that previous lap. So he's just trying to make any inroads he can, but at the moment it just doesn't look like he can do it. Alex is seemingly pretty bulletproof on these ovals, but the rest of them again have managed to spread out. Ironically, we've got Turn 4 Motorsport in 5th, and then Turn 4 Motorsport in 6th, and then in 7th we've got Team 4 Motorsports. So plenty of them, and 2 against 1 in terms of that team battle, but Jonathan Rex is in 7th and he's gained 7 places at the moment. So his race has been a bit of an up and down one, but they often are, and as Chris alluded to before, you never know where you'll end up because you actually just get right through the pack and have a bit of a comeback there. That was Rhys Saunders getting a bit out of shape. Now, interestingly, again, what you said before, Chris, with the spread here, Rhys Saunders is 5th, Jonathan Rex is 7th, but a lap down on Rhys.
Yeah, which is, it then becomes an interesting dichotomy, really, is that, look that one up, by the way, is that...
They fell off my chair.
Is that, normally you'd kind of go, I don't need to get involved in this, but, you know, this could make a difference at the, once we get to the pointy end of the race. It's like, well, does he want to sort of just make life a little bit harder for him because, it takes just a caution that can suddenly unwound that, and then he's back with them again. Whereas if he just holds him up enough here and just keeps him behind, they're starting to get a bit squirrely now, aren't they?
Yeah. Just bear with me. Dichotomy. Apparently, a dichotomy is a division or contrast between two things that are represented as being opposed or entirely different, and I do not know what that means, so thank you, Chris.
You're very welcome, mate.
That was a beauty, though. Fair play.
Hence I'm getting abuse is welcome Tim Perry and Dilly, mate, from one of our mighty Orange Army. He's watching now, and he says hi there, and he says, wow, big word, Mr. Dawes. Yeah, sorry, mate, I got a nosebleed from that. And Vertex Sports Management, of course, they are saying halfway point, hope you're enjoying your evening or whatever time it may be where you are. And that's the beauty, is that invariably they are watching it here, there and everywhere, aren't they?
Yeah, that's it. And the sim racing community is so international as well. I mean, the top 3 at the moment...
As we tend to find out when we do the interviews with the likes of Aaron Smith and everything, and we have the drawl. It's brilliant, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we've got Alex Sedgwick from the UK leading the race at the moment, although he likes to think he's American. We've got Aaron Smith in second place, who is American. And then we've got Brian Crowles, the Belgian, in third. We've got then 4 Brits, Jonathan Hill, Rhys Saunders, Mark Murphy and Jonathan Rex. We've got the French, Guillaume Hesno. And then we have the Dutch, Justin Nyer. And Gil Lindster is from Luxembourg, for anyone that may see the flag later on. Let me just show you, actually. Justin Nyer, as you'll see in the bottom left of your screen, is from the Netherlands. And Gil Lindster's flag is slightly lighter blue and a little bit more blue, and that's the Luxembourg flag. We then have 2 more Belgians in the form of Ivan Boumans and Hans Blankart, and Adrian Burks is British as well. Paul Irvin is the other American in the race. So
I'm
Smith,
gutted, or was in the race, wasn't he? But yeah, I'm gutted that we haven't got Yuri Ishmael because he's from Mauritius.
Yeah.
And I always think, well, if you want me to come out and make sure your sim's working well, Yuri, I'll come over there and just to do that, Beautiful place.
Do you need any local tech support?
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah, it's a hell of a place, is Mauritius. And a very interesting flag as well. It looks like they just went into Microsoft Paint and thought, I can't be bothered. Oh, Aaron Smith kisses the wall.
Ooh. Well, I said that they're starting to get squirrely, didn't I? And that's exactly it. And the reason being is that we are getting close. Goodness me, and again, Aaron Smith was close in the yellow 70 car there to the wall. And he is just literally holding on for dear life now. What are we at? We're lap 111. It's just incredible, isn't it?
Oh, my God. I nearly had a heart attack watching that then. I thought, he's got that collected, so we'll just stay on board for a minute. No, he was like 45 degrees to the right. Look at it on the exit of here. He's near the wall.
Oh, jeepers creepers. I mean, it's just phenomenal. Literally, we are 8 laps away from the next window, and we just don't know exactly what to do. This rate, they're going to have to green flag stop again fairly soon. And in fact, Hesno and Blancart, they've already done it. So they've been in and they've had to, and I would say they've been forced to do that. And I reckon Aaron Smith's getting close to that as well now.
Yeah, I was going to say that you reckon they're a few laps from the window. I think Aaron Smith's about 4 hours over it by the look of this. It's all over the shop, and he's going down to the apron just a short line. That is revs. He hits the limiter as well. The car back end steps out.
That's one way to do it.
You're not in the dirt trucks anymore, Aaron, not Adrian. Aaron, you're not in the dirt trucks, mate. Calm it. But I tell you what, though, 10 out of 10 for commitment. He wants to chase Alex as best he can, doesn't he, mate? Flipping heck.
That just goes to the point is that I think Aaron's there sitting there going, I need to hold on. We could get a caution. He might cause it if he's not. Oh, and Alex is now starting to drift up towards the brick wall now, but he's there going, I need Alex to pit or I need a caution to come out, but I don't think he's going to get a choice. He's going to have to pit soon.
Now, we did... we did.
He didn't do it last time. He did this time.
Unfortunately, but amazingly, that didn't bring out a caution, though. Just had Alex, our race controller, message me saying that 33 did just lose out of the pits, but somehow didn't bring out a caution. So I think these guys, I wouldn't say they got lucky with that, really. I'd say they got unlucky because of the fact that they've got to carry on the green flag and risk when they're going to come in for this pit stop now without it bunching the field up and them sort of getting a freebie as such. Mark Murphy was a little bit out of shape there, a little bit sideways on the exit. Mad Racer Jack Mace says, I'm always rooting for Aaron when I'm not on track. I hope to see that yellow number 70 in victory lane in a little while. Well, you never know, mate. These races been up and down.
Such a shame that Jack's not out, isn't it? I'd love to see Jack Mace out in this. In the tail end of the season, he was having a cracking race until he got sort of taken out by somebody else, which is a real shame. A very young driver, very skillful, but he's in the middle of a house move at the minute, which means he's not with us tonight, which is a real shame.
Yeah, it's real life does come first in the sim racing world, well, in just the world, I suppose. But yeah, hopefully we'll see Jack back out there at some point. Now this is an interesting one because this is Alex Sedgwick on the same sort of lifespan of tyres as these boys. Just showing how the line can make a big difference there. He's just gone round Gil Linster. Him and Justin Nye are actually fighting for position. So Alex has broken that up a little bit. Down the inside he goes. Just waiting to see who's going to come in the pits next, though, because Adrian Burks
good
came in
lapped car behaviour there. I've got to just put in credit there is that good lapped car behaviour there is that, as you say, they're involved in their own fight, but they kind of knew what the story was there. Especially when you consider that the 44 Linster car, I think his tyres are a little bit fresher.
Yeah, Gil Linster came in on lap 75. Oh, Justin Nye has blinked. He is in the pit lane. A little bit of a lock-up on the way in. You can see the car squirreling around. Love it. But here's your race leader, though. Number 8, Alex Sedgwick. Brian Crowles and Jonathan Hale are coming in the pits. Jonathan doesn't spin it this time. Well done, mate. He's managed to get it all nice and stabilised, and then he goes. We'll go on board and just show you what a pit stop looks like from their point of view. We won't, unfortunately, see the beautiful pit crew animations that iRacing have. You get all the guys stood on the pit wall, they all jump around the car. The whole thing is animated and it looks fantastic. And to be honest, I sometimes just jump in these cars and just drive them, do a few laps and come in just for the sake of it. Let me just show you his pit crew as well. He's got the Woody suits on from Toy Story on his pit crew there. That's another beautiful thing of sim racing, is that you can give your pit crew whatever you want on. I've actually seen a pit crew with bikinis on them in someone's liveries before, but that was even, wasn't it?
That didn't go up. That didn't go up. That looked to me like a fuel-only stop.
He's got to be off his rocker, to be fair.
Well,
to do that.
yeah, I mean, judging from the others, but then, of course, he was out of step with the others in terms of he was on fresher tyres when they were on old. They've only got 5 sets, let's not forget that. But, yeah, I don't know, that was an interesting one. I did not see the car go up in the air. I didn't see Aaron's go up in the air, but surely he had to get tyres as our race leaders in as well.
Yeah, Aaron's went up, but they don't go up that much when they're that far away sometimes. It's a bit of a strange thing that iRacing does. Aaron back on the circuit though, the car smashing off the rev limiter at 9,500 RPM from a naturally aspirated 875 brake horsepower V8. Oh, beautiful, beautiful numbers. Alex Cedric is still in his pit box. Aaron's having a bit of a blink in and out. Alex is on his way out now. Let's go on the wide angle. You'll see Aaron in the yellow car just appear in the bottom of his shot now. There he is. Look at the speed difference there. Round he goes. Aaron's got to get it done there.
Yeah, that to me looked like a slightly slow stop for Alex.
It was... No, he was actually quicker. His stop was 14.7 seconds. Aaron's was 14.8, but Alex
Where
was
does
on...
that time it?
Alex was on... that's when they stop in the box. That's when they start the pit stop. So Alex was 40...
So he's lost it on the in and out.
Yeah, Alex was 47.2 seconds in the pit lane. Aaron Smith was 45.9, and Aaron Smith just on a purple sector as well. The fastest lap of the race, 32.3. So Aaron has got that fresh rubber, and he is putting it down already, Chris.
He knows the story, doesn't he? He's out there, he's got it, he's screamed round the outside. And, it's an interesting one. And to be honest, I think that he'll have been absolutely relieved to see that Alex was diving in at that point as well. Brian Crowell's on fresh rubber by the looks of it as well. He's just screaming past one of the back markers. Ooh, just gets up towards that brick wall again. But, it's... I said to you that Smith was there just gripping for dear life to keep the car on the black stuff. And he was just about doing it, dived into the pits, and to his relief, it was only a lap later, I think it was, wasn't it, that Alex came in. And he's managed to scream it around the outside by doing deliberately that, is making it his fastest lap ever on the outlap, and he had to do it, didn't he?
Yeah, and that's the thing. These guys get put under such pressure when put in a scenario like that where you need to perform. Mark Murphy getting the rear end of that car out a little bit there as well. He's just unlapping himself, or sorry, he's just putting a lap on Ivan Bauman's, but the car in front of him, Rhys Saunders, the black one that you see there. Oh, the roll bars look good in blue. Rhys Saunders is the car ahead for position. So these guys are now in a direct fight. Jonathan Rex is just coming out of the pit lane as well on the left-hand side of his shot. Or he will be. Yep, there he is. But, the pressure, it doesn't really seem to get to Aaron Smith in anything, to be honest, because we've seen him lead in a race before under a lot of pressure, and we've seen him lead in a race and just run away with it. But the guy just seems really good at soaking up anything that is thrown at him, and once again we see him at the front of this field now, 1.8 seconds back to Alex Cedric, and then it's 12.5 back to Brian Crowell. So the field is spread out again.
And I love it when we interview Aaron Smith, is that he's literally kind of like, hey, manana. He's just so laid back, isn't he? It's just fantastic. He's such an incredible character. It shows that you don't need to always be full of the word and larger than life. He's actually got the character by being so relaxed. If you think American Kimi Räikkönen.
I like that. Yeah, I'll go with that. I wonder what he thinks of ice cream. But, Jonathan Hill is currently in 6th position. He was a bit further up the order before. But again, it's just one of those aspects of this race where they just drop down a bit, get used to it, get into a rhythm, and then they'll climb back up the order again. So I'll have to see what he can do. Lap 125 of 200 here in the Legacy Kentucky 300 on Vertex Esports. And of course we're on Simply Race as well. Luxim 24 and others We're on a lot of channels, to be honest. Vertex Sport Management's own Facebook page, Alex Sedgwick Racing page as well. Let's Race on Facebook. So we're all over the shop, to be honest. We're on Twitch as well, with Vertex Sport Management and Simply Race. So some really good coverage on this championship. Well, this is obviously one of the special events, but they are planning another season later in the year, Chris, and I'm sure that we'll be working together again on that one. And to be honest, I can't wait, because we've had such a good laugh in Season 2 and doing these events as well, that everything that comes on, it's just going to be absolutely corking.
Absolutely, and I just love the, I've been, both of us have been privileged to cover a number of things, and of course my real world commentary has kicked off with gusto every weekend somewhere now, and yet I've actually missed the last couple of weeks of this, because it is totally different to anything else that we get to do. It's just epic entertainment, and literally is that as the whole race evolves, I think we've called it plenty of times, is that I'm keeping the padlock on my wallet because I'm not putting the money anywhere. Yeah,
that's it, mate.
That was a big, looking very loose there from Jonathan Hill, wasn't it? And he got, I'm trying to work out, who was that got past him? In fact, he's just lost another place there to Adrian Burks. That's not for position, that's further down. But Jonathan Hill, I don't know whether that early pit stop has compromised him, and then coming in at the same time as everyone else after that. He's still got to be mindful of the 5 tyre limit that they've got here, and he seems compromised at the moment, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's not quite in the rhythm, and it is easy to fall out of a rhythm with these things, because once you push that extra bit too hard, the car really does start to kick off at you.
Oh,
and
God. He blinked out and he briefly blinked out and back in again there, actually. He suddenly showed it out and he disappeared, and then he's back again.
Yeah, it's the wonderful way that iRacing displays internet issues. To be fair, though, I've defended it quite a lot in the past, because I'd rather it do that than what it does on other games and sims that I've seen, where the cars fly around and they actually make contact with each other when realistically they weren't there, you know what I mean? So rather than have a car fly into you from nowhere, I'd rather it just sort of disappear for a second. Look at that though from Aaron Smith. So tidy down the inside, just gets the job done. Jonathan Hill doesn't make it difficult for him. And Alex Sedgwick, he's going to want to get through as well. Aaron Smith a little bit out of shape there. Alex going all the way around the outside. And it's quite interesting really, Chris, because these three were battling for the lead early on, weren't they?
They were, absolutely, yeah, with Alex at the top of the pile, and yeah, it's not gone to plan for. I mean, he's still only 6th. Let's keep that in perspective. But yeah, in the grand scheme of things, that is not looking at all comfortable. And judging from what we saw earlier, that goes to show the impact that things such as tyre and strategy can mean in this. Is that he's shown that he's good enough to be at the pointy end of this field, but he's now just being put a lap down, and not just that, but he's looking like he's just trying to survive at the minute. Frankly, that car is not looking comfortable at all, is it?
No, there's something not quite right, and I really do hope that he gets it dialed in again. And the battle for third, by the way, is getting tasty. That's Rhys Saunders in the background there. Brian Crowles is having a bit of a lonely race as things stand, but that may change very soon here, because Rhys Saunders is just taking a 10th at a time out. What have you seen, buddy?
Top 2 are close together by the looks of it, incredibly close together. That suddenly seems to have closed in. Well, it's sort of dropped away a little bit there, but it was just looking at the timing screens, is that Sedgwick seemed to have done a good job getting through the back markers, and he has closed in again there. But and in fact, they've got trying to get past Adrian Burks next, isn't it? Another one that's not worked out in the latter part of this race, isn't it? He was a lot further up in the early stages, and it's not gone to plan. But yeah, Sedgwick's still there, sniffing with intent, isn't he?
Yeah, as you'd say, a sneaky sniffer, which massive fan of that. But yeah, Alex is he's just doing these usual, just chipping away bit by bit. He's only like 0.02 of a second quicker on that lap, but that's the sort of margins you're dealing with in these sorts of races. I mean, if you look at any like previous oval races around the Indianapolis 500, the lap times are to the thousandths. Saunders, though,
you called it. Yeah, you called that one, didn't you? You said that was coming.
He's right on him now. We'll go on board with Rhys Saunders and see whether you can visually tell the difference between the pace. There's a bit of damage on both of these cars. Front right on Rhys Saunders' car. Right, actually, to be fair, the whole right-hand side of Brian Crowell's car looks a bit dented in. Gets back up to the high line to make sure, yeah, the right-hand side of Brian Crowell's car is not behaving itself. So Rhys Saunders, it's going to be a case of when, not if, I think, here as he goes to the inside now. Let's have a quick look from outside. Ironically, down the inside it goes in the all-black 91 machine and through into a podium position then. However, 65 laps left to go as, well, Brian Krause says not in your life, back down the inside. Oh, big drift from Brian Krause. That's not how you do it. And Rhys Saunders is now in a podium spot here, Chris, and the perseverance has paid off, definitely.
Well, the intriguing thing for me is that Rhys Saunders has pitted 5 times compared to Brian Krause and Alex Sedgwick ahead of him only 3 times. So, you know, again, we've still got so much story yet to be written here that we don't even know the details. We don't even know the contents, let alone the the index and the chapter numbers or anything like that. You know, it's just some of them have still got to do something. And look at this, Sedgwick has. I said that it was happening. Sedgwick has sniffed with intent. He's now got up the inside, and yet Sedgwick has actually pitted 1 time less than Aaron Smith as well. So it's not as simple as going, well, they haven't pitted enough times and put fresh rubber on enough times. It's not as clean cut as that. We just don't know what the hell's going on here.
Well, it seems like Alex wasn't really pushing it at all of his pace for that whole run. Maybe he was just using a little bit of the slipstream. He was a bit far back to get too much of it, but any of it makes a difference in these cars. It's quite crazy how much it amplifies the pace. We're on lap 138 out of 200 now. And Aaron Smith...
Which means we're only about halfway through on this, if they did change tyres on this pit window, really.
Yeah, very true, because, 20 laps since Aaron Smith pitted, so the tyres will have gone off a bit. We've seen the differences when guys have got tyres that are only about 10 to 15 laps newer, and that does make quite the change, so I'll be intrigued to see how Aaron Smith does on the rest of this run, because he did pit just 1 lap before Alex, didn't he? Because Alex was coming out and Aaron went flying around the outside. So, I thought I was going in the wall then. Oh dear me. Mark Murphy, by the way, he's got onto the back of this little fight as well now. He's got Brian Krause just in front of him, and then Rhys Saunders just ahead of him. So it's starting to compress a little bit again now, is this accordion?
Yes. So I'm just taking a swig of gin.
Sorry, mate. You enjoy that gin, and we'll stay on board with Mark Murphy for a second. With the beautiful blue roll cage. But yeah, this is it's starting to get spicy again now as the strategies all sort of intermingle a little bit.
Krause is just not. You called it earlier, actually, didn't you? Saying that he's not looking comfortable on the one side of that car. That was massively out of shape there, which suddenly means that Murphy trying to move, and that is for position. Oh, diving up towards the inside, that was disappearing very quickly there, and they're both washing out towards the exit there. Krause, snap! Krause was, I'm not sure whether that was out of shape or a deliberate move. I would suggest by the acquiescing that's going on there, look that one up as well, is that I would suggest he was out of shape. Guillaume Hesno into the pits.
Yep, Guillaume blinks and pits again, but he was a little bit out of sync with the rest of them as well before, because he pitted quite late in one of the first runs in the race. But these two right together at the moment, but Mark Murphy has made the move. Look at Brian Krause's car just off the corner there. The back end just wants to wiggle around a little bit.
Terrible, isn't it?
It's just not behaving. It's close at the front. This is first and second, by the way.
That I find interesting, because Aaron Smith, we sort of wondered whether he was seeing goodness me, where's he going again? He's doing his dirt tracking again. And that kind of backs up what we were saying earlier, saying, is Aaron starting to struggle again with the condition of his tyres, which could well be the case. Alex knows how to look after these tyres a lot better than most, I think is fair to say. But now that Alex has made that move, Aaron's not fallen away, is he?
No, that's it. It's following. I'm just telling you, it's following. Not that I'm the same as Aaron Smith by any stretch of the imagination, because he's a hell of a lot better than I am, but it's the fact that when you're following a car, you can sort of get a reference point to where you're going to brake and where you're going to just get the line right, and a lot of these guys are very good at doing that. And to be honest with you, I think Aaron's one of those drivers where following just helps him out that little bit. And I mean, Alex is probably good at both, to be honest. I'm not to blow his on too much, but we know Alex is obviously a pro, does this in real life. He is good at managing both. So I think that with Aaron behind, he's not going to be too stressed out with it, and Aaron's going to be happy to follow because he knows that they're on a similar pace, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, Aaron clearly has now chosen that as his line there, hasn't it? Dropping below the yellow line there, coming past the sort of across the line, and it works for him. To be fair, is it gives him a good run up into that corner. You can see now he's closed in, and I think well, I was about to say invariably he's lost out on this part here, but he's got this in the groove again now, and he's continued closing in. Now is he going to go low and below the yellow line again? Here he goes. Yeah, well, no, he didn't this time. So that's interesting. By getting a better run through the last two corners, is that it meant that he stayed clean across the start-finish line. Is that going to compromise him through this bit? Not at the moment, interestingly. But now we head down to this final bit. This was where he was over the last few laps, losing ground until last time he just contradicted me completely. Just for the hell of it, I'd imagine. But again, he's running wide there, but that wasn't uncomfortably wide there, was it? And he's now not. I don't think he dipped below the yellow line there. So he still means business, doesn't he?
Oh yeah, he's cracking on. But to be honest, he was that low below the line earlier. I thought it was going to end up in Indiana. Honestly, it was just
quite. But the fact that he did it sort of 3 or 4 laps in a row was quite incredible.
Yeah, and the thing is as well, it's easy to lose these cars there. Jonathan Hill is giving it up by the look of it, and he's bringing that car in. He's really struggling with something, so he's in to the pit lane. He only pitted on, well, I'll say only, he pitted on lap 117 before this, so he's done 30 laps on those tyres.
If he changed tyres, then something's not right. If he didn't, then okay.
Oh,
he's
actually,
tried to keep it a bit light.
Sorry, mate, just thinking back, though, you said last time that car didn't go up on the jacks.
Yes, that's correct. Actually, yeah, good point. He was the one, wasn't he? Which surprised me that he wasn't. So this has got to be when he was out of sync. Sure, yeah, there we go. So he is changing the tyres now. They've got. I mean, it's a great move that the team have put in with this one. Is that they have to be mindful of the 5 tyre limit.
Yeah, definitely. As Guillaume Hesno gets involved here with Aaron Smith and Alex Cedric, it's almost like some sort of dummy there to put him off. It's like, oh, not another yellow car in mirror. But Guillaume is on fresher rubber, though, so he's flown by now, and even on Alex Cedric, that just shows you the difference. But Alex and Aaron managing to just drag the car around. Here's Jonathan Hill just coming out the pit lane then. And that's Adrian Burke's for position on the outside, by the way. So Adrian is now going to be thinking, oh, nice position here for me, although he pitted on lap 107, so just watch Jonathan Hill on the... Look at that. Oh, well, never mind, Adrian's pitting. I was going to say, look at the speed difference, but Adrian is purposefully getting the car stopped sideways. That was very, very... I almost went a bit sideways on my chair there. I sort of carried the momentum with him. But he brings it in then, as the closest cars on track still battle away. Alex is getting very friendly with that wall, almost leaving a bit of blue vinyl down the side of it. But it's been a good race.
And we are getting close again to the next pit window, and it's going to be, as it stands at the moment, another a green flag stop for him.
It will be, as things stand anyway. Hans Blankart, we just saw there, he's having a bit of a struggle at the moment with that car. Looks like it's not quite working as intended. That front right very damaged from that hit earlier. Not sure whether he used his fast repair earlier on, or whether him rejoining the session means that he hasn't got it anymore, because he did have internet issues. But we've had a really good race so far that's been based on strategy on this one, because, oh, we've got a yellow. Jonathan Hill has crashed. Jonathan Hill's come out of the pit lane.
In my big mouth.
Oh, no, and he's pulled into Adrian Burks. Oh, Jonathan. Oh, he's just gone too hot into turn 1. And has he kept it out of a wall? He has, and it's just going to flick around left again. And then the car's stopped, and he's not on the pit lane. Now, he could have gone backwards here, and he does, but then he just goes forward straight away, not checking. Ah, no, Adrian straight into him. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that was in a bit, I mean, and it's just round the corner, so that was very, very tricky. And, of course, Burks was absolutely hurtling round by that point, wasn't he?
The thing is, I mean, the argument would be that in iRacing, you get your relative box where you can see who is how far away from you.
Look at the damage on Burke's car. Yeah, so he's back in again, isn't he?
That's absolutely ruined.
Oh, no.
Yeah, the front left. We can't quite see it from this this angle, but the front left. We'll go on board. You can just see the bonnet in the front left there. Very polyagonal. And that is not a healthy car. Yeah,
I'll look that one up, shall I?
There used to be a Pokemon.
Oh, top 3 in the pits. Top 3 in the pits. Here we go.
Let's see what they do then. We'll go on board with Alex. I love that Chevy, I'm sorry. But hopefully the frame rate looks as good for you lot as it does for me as well. Obviously, we're running it on my red hot PC at the minute, and I think it should look alright. I do apologize. Oh, look at them shadows on the right, though. Get in. Chris doesn't quite get the feed that you guys get, unfortunately. I wish I could give it him, but yeah, I'm afraid not. Although Aaron's car...
All four tyres for both of these
two. Aaron's done it! Aaron's done it! His car went up on the left faster than Alex's did there.
Yeah, they both went up both sides, didn't they?
Yeah, but when we were looking back at Aaron's, as soon as Alex's went up to take left tyres, Aaron's actually went up before him. So I don't know whether that was down to just how quickly he got it stopped in the box. But Aaron Smith, I mean, he did it last time. Really good in the pits. And he was only 2/10. Actually, he was in the whole pit lane time, he was actually 2/10 slower. But his pit stop was half a second quicker. There you go. So, wow. That's all the difference it made. And they were side by side when they came out. And Aaron Smith has retaken, effectively, the lead of this race. Wow. And to be honest, I've heard people say in the past NASCAR pit stops don't really matter because they all go in the same order and come out the same order. Do they? Heck, because that's just proof there that even in the sim racing world, when, yes, there's less factors to worry about in a pit stop, it doesn't quite often go as wrong. It can be very different.
Well, I think the Sedgemeister's going to be sacking his pit crew after that one, isn't
he? Yeah, probably. You cost me 2/10, boys. Damn it.
Interestingly as well, I noticed that Aaron Smith was flying round as these boys were aiming for the pits, and then I think it's Guillaume Hesno that suddenly wasn't, and fair play, Aaron clocked that pretty darn quickly and threw the anchors out the back so that Guillaume was able to get back round again. Now, is Aaron going in again?
No, that's the exit on that one. I thought that then. I was thinking, why is he going so low? I think he's just being a showman. He's just being Aaron Smith because he knows that Guillaume is obviously going to sit in front of him now, and Guillaume may get the wave around, so he's just keeping the field down low, just for anyone that does come around. Aaron, obviously, he is the local American in this series, so he knows a lot of the NASCAR rules a lot better than some of the other guys that may not be so acquainted with it. Not that I'm stereotyping Aaron, because he is a top bloke and he's very good at what he does in this series. But yeah, keeping the field down low is probably the more ideal thing to do, because often when you get someone with a wave around, they go up high and go all the way around. I have a message off Alex, our race controller. Yes, he says it looks like Adrian Burks has unfortunately called it a day for that one. So we will not be seeing him. Yeah. We'll not be seeing him return for the race, I'm afraid. But it's understandable. Very frustrating for it to happen like that. I mean, you're just going about your race. You take a pit stop, and to be honest, as well, it was just before the yellow came out. So if that wouldn't have involved Adrian, he'd be right at the front of this pack with fresh rubber on. That would have been the race lead, definitely.
It is a shame, and I know that Jonathan will be, mortified by that as well, because he just seems such a nice guy when we're interviewing him, and he's had such a great race, and then some big troubles thrown in as well. And I don't think it was his fault. You know, he was there pointing at the wall that was blind, and then of course Burks came screaming round. The reality is most people are going to be up on the circuit. And so understandably, he's not gone reversing up the bank, and he's just gone to try and spin it round. And suddenly the red and white target car came hurtling round there, and that was it. You know, I think he, unfortunately, just down to the position where he was, it was devil in the deep blue sea.
Yeah, that's it. And Alex has said that Adrian had been struggling with the car beforehand, and he said he was having a bit of a nightmare earlier on in the race. So I think that was just the straw that broke the camel's back, unfortunately. But we've seen it happen before, and at the end of the day, when you put this much time into a race, it does get frustrating. So I totally appreciate that. And of course, it was. I mean, he was having a good run at some points of the race as well. And Adrian has always been a strong driver in any of the events that Vertex have done. So hopefully, we'll see him again soon. Reece Saunders and Jonathan Rex jump into the pit lane.
Now, did Crowles go in? I don't.
He did, yeah. Lap 151.
Yeah, he has, hasn't he? So. Yeah. That's interesting to see how this will work out now with Brian Crowles and Reece Saunders, because of course they were getting a bit rambunctious with each other in that race before the caution, weren't they? I think that Reece Saunders has got past Brian Crowles, but you know, Reece Saunders is in and already making his way out, whilst Crowles is just being forced to crawl round behind the safety car. So that's it could be an interesting move there.
Yeah, he's got. I mean, 3 laps difference behind the pace car won't really make that much difference with tyres, but you never know with these things. I mean, we've seen some pretty crazy things happen. We've got 45 laps of the race to go, and well, let's have a look. We've got
in fact, that's Rex just behind him, and that is actually 5th and 6th on the grid, isn't it?
It is, yeah. We've got Mark Murphy currently sitting in 3rd place at the moment. The lights are out on the safety car, otherwise I would have dragged him in for a quick interview, but he's returning to the series after a long time out. And Aaron, I've done that twice now. Had a bit of a blink there, but we're back for the restart then. Lap 156 of 200 we're about to get on to. Let's see what Aaron can do. Has a great start, hugs it really low to the inside. And, it looks like, I think that's Hans Blankart just getting out of the way of everyone. Oh, look at that there, through the middle. Rhys Saunders trying to go around Ivan Bauman's and Guillaume Hesno going with him. Very close on the back straight. And Jonathan Hill trying to go up the order as well there. He's just overtaken Ivan Bauman's, which is actually lapping him again. At the front
out of interest, I was just noticing that Murphy, 58, was trying to make a move on Alex Sedgwick. There he is, but at the same time, Krause is trying to come at him. So keep an eye. We've got it again, haven't we? We said it earlier how amazing it was at the start that we, instead of just 2, we've got 4 of them slugging it out at the front there. Now, this could be good news for Aaron Smith at the front there, the number 70 car, because now Alex Sedgwick has got his mirrors, both sides, absolutely full. With Brian Krause has got past Murphy now, interestingly, so that could let it off. Although Murphy's back again up the inside, so they're going at it. These two. This could let Sedgwick off the hook, which could be bad news for Aaron Smith.
Yeah, that's it.
Look, he plays in on Smith now, hasn't he?
They really want to try and just put the pressure on, just to alleviate it a bit. Gil Linster in the 44 there, the yellow, blue and black car, is not for position with these guys, but he wants to show them that he's still got the pace. Look at that run out of there as well. Rhys Saunders is the next car for position after Mark Murphy, who we're looking at now. And there is Rhys in the Mafia machine. Around the outside of Justin Nye. He's putting another lap. Whoa! They're all a bit out of shape because they're pushing hard. That's the thing. When you're on the new rubber, it's very easy to get carried away, isn't it? And just push that extra little bit because you think you've got the grip, as Cedric does the fastest lap of the race here, Chris.
Yeah, I just spotted that as well. He's on a mission, isn't he? And it was. He knew he was under pressure from Murphy originally. Then Murphy and Krause got involved in the final step of the podium battle, which meant that Cedric was able to then just focus forwards on the back of that yellow number 70 car of Aaron Smith. And he's closed right in on him, and he's determined to do it. Now, interestingly, he's put in an incredible amount of pressure at this point in the race. We're going to have at least one more pit stop out of these guys before the checkered flag falls. But Alex has decided now's the point to really crack this one up, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's properly got on with it. And to be honest, he knows that it's going to be crunch time soon. Maybe only 1 or 2 more pit stops to go, dependent on if we get another yellow flag. So he's making the most of it. He's down the inside of Aaron Smith now, side by side across the line once again, giving each other plenty of room. Mind your manners, please, boys.
Murphy's pitting. That's interesting. That's not what I'd expect to see. Bearing in mind he was fighting with Brian Krause. I don't know whether there was maybe a bit of contact with the wall or something.
That is a strange one. Not sure what's caused
that. In fact, he's made 6 now. So, yeah, that is a very odd move and an unfortunate move there.
He's missed his box a little bit as well. Yeah, I'm not 100% sure what's happened there, whether it was a drive-through or a speeding penalty or something. Apparently he's on the way out already, so yeah, maybe a stop and go. Wondering whether if Alex, our race controller, can let us know on that one, because that was a bit strange, but we'll have to see. Gil Linster does his fastest lap of the race, a 32.6, 33.0 from Ivan Bauman's as well, so it just shows you how the track has evolved here, Chris, and the guys are still going quicker than they were at the start.
Yeah, they're on the fresh rubber. The track itself has rubbered in as well now. I mean, you can see it. I love the graphics on this because you can actually see that it's got more rubbered in as they've been going round here. And look at that. Krause is now closing in on these two. Such is the fight between the top 2. We're going to get the 3 together again, especially as Krause now isn't fighting, unfortunately for us, with the 58 car of Murphy anymore. So Krause is now reeling them in brilliantly, and you can see why he's able to do. Look at those two ahead of him going at it like a pair of prize fighters. Is that it's just compromising both of them to some extent, lap time wise, they're at the high 32s. Brian Krause is probably only about a tenth or two quicker than them, but you can see what effect that's having.
Yeah, that's it. Chipping away little bit by little bit. I mentioned it earlier on that all you need to do in these sorts of races is take out those tiny margins on your rivals, and they're oversteering on the way into these corners. That's what I love about this. They're sideways on the way in, and it looks absolutely immense. But to be honest, doing an absolutely smashing job at the moment is Brian Krause at trying to make up that gap.
He's just closing hand over fist, isn't he? That, I mean, what interested me there was that it was going into the corner that he really closed into them, and then doesn't lose anything through and out of the corner either. So he is looking absolutely hooked up at the minute, is Krause.
It's looking nice and planted, and I hope that he continues it, because to see a three-way fight for the lead would be brilliant. We'll go on a nice wider camera. Do like this shot quite a lot. Into the long left they go. We have 35 laps of this race remaining. 200 laps here. The first 50 flew by. The rest of it has been a real test of the drivers' patience and, of course, their strategies as well. And to be honest, I love races like this, Chris, because you've got to think about it in the long run, haven't you? It's not just a 10-minute sprint to the flag where it's just flat out. There is a lot more going on. Let's have a look. Alex said minor contact between in 157. Oh, sorry, lap 157 between Murphy and Krause. That may have been it. Otherwise, it's not very obvious to him what caused it. So maybe a bit of damage. Maybe the car wasn't quite.
Whether there was something that forced him to go in for repair, didn't I?
Yeah, that's the thing. It's easy to upset these cars with a little bit of a dent or a bump here or there. So once you get a tiny little bit of that, you'll want to bring it in and just try your best to get
They're like
the car.
wheelbarrows. They're hard to push, but easy to upset.
Yeah. Yeah, I like that.
That's my wife. Sorry, that's my wife. Sorry, I got it wrong.
Wow. Oh, I saw the video, Sweet But Psycho, as well, by the way. That was amazing. Big fan of that. This is Rhys Saunders then in 4th place. Jonathan Rex, 5th place at the moment. And he's actually
and going well.
Yeah, he's gained 9 positions. We'll show you on the left-hand side, everybody. 9 places for him. Unfortunately, Irvin has dropped 10 places, qualifying 4th. And 4 places gained for Guillaume Hesno in the long run here. But from the lead lap, we only have 6 cars in the lead lap now. I'll show you that on the left-hand side as well. You can see there, some of them 2, 5 and 11 laps down now. But still running, which is nice. You know, that's the thing. You often see people that will quit if they're that far down, but these guys don't. They just crack on with it and enjoy the whole sort of point of the race, don't they?
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's the beauty of this one. It's deliberately designed to be this 300-mile race, and it is, you know, it's to try and sort of push it. It's 75% real life fuel load, all of these kind of things, limit on tyres. You know, it is throwing something a little bit more at it than we did during the championship. Look at that. Alex Sedgwick pushed too hard, that tells me, in that early stages after the safety car, because Aaron Smith is now on him. He was, there he goes. It reminds me of, you know, what's the, I've forgotten the animated film that my daughter watches that looked like there with the Wreck-It Ralph, that was it, Wreck-It Ralph.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the glitch, Vanellope.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it.
Look at Krause again, though. I mean, this is intriguing between these three. They're on like this piece of elastic. Now it's Aaron Smith closing in on Sedgwick. Then we'll get the other half of this, and it'll be that Krause will be right onto the back of the yellow number 70 car of Smith. It's incredible. Yes, Tim Perry, I know you've put all Dawesy dangerous with saying that about the current Mrs. Dawes, as I jokingly call her. With fear in my voice, but that's because she's in the bath, so I'm safe. You know,
all right. Mine's not in the house at the moment, so it's even better. However, she's getting a chippy tonight, and I'm not. Anyway, I see what you mean, though. The elastic is...
What, as in a person that does things with wood? she's gone out to pull a chippy.
Well... Oh, that's a massive can of worms. That's like a bucket. That's a bucket of worms. That one. Guillaume Hesno's in the pits. Thank God. He's just coming in now. Lap 172. This will surely be his last stop. until the end. Looks like the car's a little bit damaged on the right, but it's going to be nice and mucky on the front as well, which is another thing that iRacing simulates very well. But we really do hope you're enjoying the stream, everybody. As you can tell, Chris and I love doing this. We have a fantastic laugh commentating together, and we really hope that that does come across to you guys as well. Don't forget as well to like and subscribe to whichever platform you're watching on, whether it be Simply Race, LuxSim24, Vertex Esports as well. Don't forget to go and like the Vertex Sport Management Facebook page as well. Without them, guys, the series would not happen.
And do that because it means it will notify you of all the future things that are going to be broadcast live.
Yes.
That whilst we might not be running another championship until I would envisage probably the winter, once the what's left of this real world season sort of closes off. I might be wrong. We don't know yet, but there's certainly a whole lot more of these sort of one-off events and special events, and some of the ideas that people have been coming up with. I'd stay tuned if I was you, because Chaz and I sure as hell are, because we're looking forward to the possibility of commentating on some pretty incredible events.
Definitely, indeed, and because obviously for us as well, with real world commentary kicking in a bit more, of course, for yourself than I, but because it's midweek, we get the chance to recuperate from the weekend and manage to come do this midweek as well. So it's perfect, really, in all honesty. And of course, we get to commentate together again at Silverstone in just 2 weeks' time. Well, 2 and a bit.
We do, mate.
Which will be a pleasure as always. And that's the thing, everybody. Like, there's a lot of opportunities to be gained from sim racing over the course of lockdown and throughout the whole COVID sort of outbreak. It's really come into the public eye and shown people quite how seriously it should be taken. And I think it's been a great step for it. But at the same time, we can still have a lot of fun with it and enjoy events like this.
The announcement today that we're going to be getting a British touring car sim, and it is going to be more sim than arcadey by the sounds of it. That's going to be interesting. So this whole world's growing more and more, and it's just such an incredible situation that I've been mainly commentating on it, but I've actually sort of taken part in a few commentated on events as well, and realised how useless I am. But it's great to actually get a perspective how good these guys are. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it is scary, the level of talent. Because, I grew up playing racing games since I was like 5 years old and thought to myself, I'm not bad at these. And, I'd go to a friend's house and, Aaron Smith was nearly at his friend's house there in that wall. But go to a friend's house and, they'd sort of show them bits of a game that they hadn't seen because they'd never won that many races or whatever. And it was always like, Chaz is the one that's good at racing games. So I come into the sim racing world thinking, I'll give this a crack, do all right. No, not a chance.
No.
Against some of these guys, no chance whatsoever. So that's why I talk about it.
You can't work out how they're like 3-4 seconds a lap quicker, and you're like going, that's not a small amount. That's ludicrous.
Yeah, that's it. Like I can gain a
looking at
tenth.
the shortcuts they're taking.
That's it. You can gain a tenth here or there in sim racing, and you feel like you've really made progress. And that's the beauty of it compared to real racing as well. You get that time, you put the time into practice, and every little tenth that you gain just helps so much. Reece Saunders has come in the pit lane.
Yeah. Now that has got to be an enforced one, that where he's out sick. And this is the point I was making earlier, is that they're not just battling for the here and now when we were earlier in the race about how the car feels and what have you, but they need to get it lined up. I often call it the world's fastest game of chess. They need to get the end of this race lined up to be able to finish strongly. Now, Reece Saunders, he's probably going to be okay there because of lapped cars and what have you, but it kind of puts pay to a challenge for him getting any higher, I would say now.
Yeah, I don't think... he's really lighting it up in the pit lane.
Cool.
Not quite sure.
Straight through the safety car.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've seen it in the past. Sometimes you make contact with that pace car, sometimes you don't. And I've seen people take that for granted and hit the thing. And I can't remember what circumstances it is, but let me tell you, it's hilarious. But at the moment, I'm just waiting to see. I wanted to keep on Hans Blankart's car just to see if he does take a fast repair or not, because I think it would have done it by now if he was. Seems like it's not.
He's probably had the fast and he's doing a longer repair.
Yeah.
No, that wasn't enough, was it?
No.
Maybe some part of it, I don't know.
Yeah, sometimes you can get a little bit of optional repairs, as Alex Cedric is not sending it, I think is the only phrase to come out with now.
Yeah. That was properly crossed up by the looks of it, wasn't it? But it seemed to not really compromise him, and in fact he's got a pretty big piece of daylight between himself and Aaron Smith, who's heading into the pit. So Aaron Smith, he's blinking with 19 laps left. Actually, that doesn't sound a lot, but it actually is, to be honest with you, isn't it? When we've been talking, that's half a pit window. Now, this is interesting, but if Alex... Now, keep an eye on this because Alex pitted 1 lap later by my reckoning last time round than Aaron Smith.
Yeah.
So is Alex about to dive in towards the pits now, or is he going to stretch this out? He probably only needs to do another 2 or 3 laps, lot more, and he's leaving himself in the pound seats for the climax of this race.
Thing is, though, because these tyres won't go off that much in 20 laps, I think you have to just pit now, because every lap that Alex is doing now is going to be a lap that's slower than whatever Aaron's going to be doing. And come the end of it, there's not going to be that much difference in tyres no matter what they do. So I think Aaron, that's probably an inspired move at this point. We'll have to see where Brian Crowles comes out. He's not even in the pit box yet. That's how long these pit lanes are. Slams all fours on, flat spots them, doesn't give one. Ivan Bowman's has just come out the pit lane. Alex Cedric is in then. So Alex Cedric's in. Aaron Smith is going to go past because he's a lap down. Don't get me wrong. And we'll have to see now where Aaron comes back out. So we'll go back to Alex and we'll go on the wider camera here. There's Aaron.
Now, Crowles has lost out quite significantly to Aaron Smith, as it turns out now.
Yeah, the gap's opened up there,
Yeah, the position, the gap, let alone the positions, was quite significant.
It's the undercut, isn't it? It's that pit stop before your opponent. Look at that. Alex isn't even down off the jacks yet, and Aaron Smith has flown by. Absolutely. Wow. How does he do that? Oh, I tell you what, actually, Aaron's pit stop, 9 seconds. Alex Cedric, 15 seconds. So Aaron must have taken 2 tyres, surely. And I, you look at the fact that that's Aaron's 6th stop. Remember, he was out of sequence, wasn't he? Alex has only pitted 5 times, 5 sets of tyres. He may not even have a fresh set of boots on, or certainly not 4. I questioned whether he'd only put 2 in, remember, in that first stop. When he chose to go in that first caution, and it was quite a quick stop as well, I said, and yet he wasn't as quick as Jonathan Hill coming through the field. I wondered whether he'd only put in on one side last time. Yeah, that's
Does that
true.
mean that he's only had 2 fresh boots this time to put on?
Let's have a look at what happened then. We'll find out, and then we'll get some sort of insight. So he's taking right side. I think that's all we're going to see him take. It is, yeah.
It is.
Just right
so
side.
So I think, and therefore that's the point, is that I think in that very first caution we had after, what was that, about 17, 18 laps or something daft like that, is that, he went in, but it was quick, but he wasn't suddenly screaming through like Jonathan Hill was. And I said, I wonder if he's only put 2 on this time.
Yeah.
I think that's what he's done. He's left 2 fresh boots for this particular stop. He's done it. But, we've still got, 15 laps left to go. Alex now on all 4 fresh. He could still come screaming through,
He could indeed. That was for position, by the way. Rhys Saunders pitted on lap 177, Mark Murphy on 160. So 17 laps difference on the tyres for those pair. Rhys Saunders now 4th place. Jonathan Rex is leading the race. 13 places gained to do so as well. So fair play, Jonathan Rex. Alex was telling me before tonight that he has improved a lot since we last saw him. And
do you know he might not have to stop again? You do realise that? Jonathan Rex might not need to stop again.
Lap 154 was last time. So he's
got was it? Okay. I thought it was more recent than that, to be honest.
He's got a 19-second lead over Aaron Smith. So he could have a cheeky pop at that, Speaking of a cheeky pop.
Cheeky pop, right?
You couldn't write that. He could have a cheeky pop at doing this, though, and staying out all the way, as Justin Nyer does his fastest lap of the race.
Well, Alex did that at... What circuit was? Where he ran out of... We literally heard his engine turn off.
Wasn't it Ohio? No, it wasn't Ohio, was it? Could it have been? I think it was Ohio. Yeah, it might have been Ohio. Where he just pushed it all the way to the... Oh, no, sorry, Watkins Glen, he ran out of fuel.
Watkins Glen, that was it, yeah.
Watkins, sorry, I was thinking ovals for a minute. But, I mean, the gap now to Aaron Smith has gone down to 18 seconds. There it is, and I mean, it's a hell of a gap visually. Brian Crowles, by the way, is on the back of Rhys Saunders now, so this battle's going to open up. Brian's car still not behaving itself, let me tell you. Well, all you need to do is watch his steering input to know that is not behaving itself. Because, wow, Brian is wrestling a pig at the moment, but Rhys Saunders, there's only 6 laps difference between these tyres, and Brian is making the most of it at the moment. He wants a podium position, but whether Jonathan Rex stops that or not, we'll have to see. But this is a good little scrap now for 4th and 5th. Brian gets that deep line down the inside. He's not going to want to wash up too much though. Rhys Saunders making him work for it. And this is what we love to see. We don't want to see guys just going, oh, no, after you, chap. We want to see some hard elbows out stuff. So Rhys Saunders is not making this easy for Brian Crowles at all. Brian's going to be thinking, oh, my poor tyres, every lap is a lap wasted. Tries to look down the inside. And the Mafia boss can't really do much about it that time round. Although they're still side by side. He's carried a lot of good speed mid-corner there. I think Brian now he's going to have the inside line into the final corner as well. Yeah, he's just going to have that done. The gap to the lead then, Jonathan Rex and Aaron Smith is 15 seconds. I'll put it on the left-hand side so you can see it in real time. You can see the gaps from everyone else as well. So Hesno is the first car that's not on the lead lap, but he's 2 laps down now. So it's all about the top 6 really. Mark Murphy is 6th. Oh, Brian Crowles is off. I was just saying, oh, that's a big jump for a NASCAR, that. Brian Crowles has gone off the circuit. Let's have a quick look at what happened here. So this was the lap before, apologies. So this was just as we went away from him. It's the Chaz curse again, Chris.
Oh, I'm just trying to make sense of that. Where is it going to happen? There's multiple places where it could there, and it's the old switcheroo there. Yeah, you see it? And I got to be honest and say that Rhys was there. Now they've washed out. I mean, it was... do you know what I mean? It was... it
was a tough one, that. Very, very tough one. Let's just... I think it's this bit. So
because originally... It looked like Brian came down, but then suddenly Rhys went up on the exit of the corner, and I think that they were both as bad as each other at different points on the corners there.
Yeah.
And then Brian was the one that really lost out the most at the end there. That is, I mean, he's going to be seething about that. Let's not make any mistakes. Is that he's going to feel Rhys Saunders was out of order, but you know Jonathan was equally on the low line earlier in that corner when Brian Crowles tried to come down low. And then it looked as though maybe Rhys Saunders just washed out. He wouldn't have aimed for him. He just washed out. And that's the knife edge that these cars are on.
Yeah, that's it. It's so easy to do when so many of the racing lines cross over on tracks like this. Mike Yao joins us in the chat on YouTube. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're well as well, buddy. Hope your other stream on Simply Race went well this evening. Jonathan Rex a little bit out of shape there coming onto the back straight here, Chris, and this car's starting to show the signs.
When did you say that he stopped?
154. So he's done
now
40
the big
laps.
thing is, let me sort of probably burst the bubble on that then, is that means that he shouldn't really have enough fuel to see him through to the end.
And I hope he does. It sounds like he's really... Let's just go on board.
You're going to rub in the noise element now, are you?
Oh, yeah. It sounded like he was lifting a bit because I'm just trying to assess it a little bit. He's obviously lifting to go around the corner anyway, as normal, but it is a bit of a shame whether he does have to pit or not, because he's got 9 seconds now and he's got 5 laps to go of this race, and we could see a really big upset. I tell you what, is there anything on the dash that you can see about the fuel? No, it doesn't tell us, does it? No, it doesn't. It doesn't tell us enough about the temps or the fuel or the pressure or anything from this point.
That would be nice, wouldn't it, if we could see that?
iRacing did do an update because a while ago it always used to say that everything was 0 and the cars were in reverse when you went on board with someone else.
Right.
Like always when you went on someone else. But then it started showing you the revs and the gears and everything live. And some cars even it does sort of do some sort of throttle response, and you can see like the anti-roll bar adjustments working. But Jonathan Rex doesn't look like a man that is worried about fuel at the moment, and I'm really excited.
The romantic part of me is now, you know, I love the other guys to pieces in Aaron Smith and Alex Sedgwick, but do you know what? I'm rooting for Mr. Rex here.
Yeah,
Jonathan Rex,
I am.
Come on, sir.
Fully.
You know, Team 4 Motorsports are probably going mad in this Chevrolet. Is in the lead of the race, but he's going to have to nurse it home. He's got a gap at the moment of... what is it, 8.5 seconds, and it's tumbling down dramatically. We can't see that he's got enough fuel in there, surely. Who's that behind him? That's
Jonathan
not Alex,
Hill.
is it?
Jonathan
Hill, I thought it was. So that's going to be unlapping. Just let him go, Rex. You don't need to worry about that one. That's not a problem.
I'm scared for him. I don't want to look away because I don't want to do the Chaz curse.
It's going to be 2.5 laps or less than that now for him to go. Surely, is he going to be able to do it? This could be a masterstroke. And I said that, you've got to try and get yourself in the pound seats at the end. Oh, and he's just run a little bit wide there. He's then using gravity to go to the bottom of the circuit there.
Alex is right on the back of Aaron now, so hopefully, if these two have a battle, it might alleviate the gap. But he's got 6.4 seconds. Surely he's not going to lose that much in one lap. He's got one lap after this as Jonathan Rex. I've honestly never been rooting for an underdog this much in a race. No offence, but I mean, Alex has told me that Jonathan has improved a hell of a lot. I've said it a couple of times over the stream. Alex has got past Aaron Smith. He's up to second, so he's really pushing now. The gap is down to 5.6 seconds to Jonathan Rex. I don't think he could possibly lose that much.
Oh, and he's on to his last lap, so here we go. Jonathan Rex, come on, my friend.
He's really nursing it.
He wasn't in the top 10. Where has he come up? He's come up 13 places to get into this top spot. He's just trying to make sure he can complete this final lap. He's got the two cars absolutely screaming up behind him.
He was literally last on the grid.
Second quicker. Was he?
Literally last on the grid, and he's coming around the final corner. And if I'm honest, it gives me great pleasure, everybody. Jonathan Rex is going to win the Legacy 300 in Kentucky. Fantastic. He runs out of fuel across the line, surely, but Jonathan Rex has done it. What? It has run out of fuel. It has run out of fuel, but Jonathan Rex, everybody, is your race winner. That is absolutely outstanding. Get in. Get in, my son.
Unsurprisingly, we weren't the only ones on the feed. We got others that were going, go, 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 go. You can do it. That was amazing. That is the kind of headlines that you want in these kind of races. And look, you can almost see that they're kind of almost slowing down by the side of him. If they could be waving at him to say, well done, I think they would. That was special.
Absolutely. And Alex did ask him to do donuts, but to be honest, Chris, I can hear as much as you can right now from on board this car because it is out of fuel. It's genuinely out of fuel. Oh. He's not going to be doing donuts. I'm hoping they're going to push him round. They will do. That's that's Reece Saunders behind him there. And
that's awesome.
I mean, one thing they tend to do in NASCAR is give each other a bit of a bump from the rear just to say, like, well done. Like, they'll literally hit the back of the car in front. Alex Sedgwick there next to him. He's going to go into the pit lane. But Jonathan Rex, he's going to... I hope he's got a handbrake or something, Matt, just so he can do like a pretend donut. He's just gonna, he's as if he's going to. He's just gonna stop the car. But
do you know what? In its own right, that is special that he can't even do a donut. Doesn't that tell you everything you need to know?
Yeah, definitely. It really does. And there he goes. But wow, oh wow. Jonathan Rex, by 1.6 seconds in the end, wins the Legacy Kentucky 300 in the Vertex Stock Car Cup. Alex Sedgwick and Aaron Smith, amazing battling once again between those guys, second and third for them respectively.
Reece Saunders, what about the battle between fourth and fifth? About those two, look how close that was, 2/10.
Yeah, let's have a look back at this. Actually, let's have a look back at how these guys finished this race because this is the final lap from their point of view. Then, so Reece Saunders and Brian Crowell's right together. We'll come back to the results in a second, everybody, because I need to catch my breath a bit now because that was just amazing. It was just one car just doing a lap on its own, but still.
Look at these two.
This is.
Look at these.
There you go. Oh, hey up. There's the inside of a Ford Fusion engine bay. It's 2/10 across the line, so he's going to be right with him. Brian Crowell's is like a tow hook on the back of him. Look at that down the inside. Oh my.
That was outstanding. Apologies, guys, that there was all this going on behind, but we can only be looking at one camera, and I'm sure you will go with us that it was all about... He only finished 1.6 clear in the end of Alex Sedgwick. That's how close it was, and then he ran out of fuel, I think, just before he crossed the line, didn't he? Yeah. What an incredible race, and just a truly emotional result.
Yeah, it really is. I've got tears. I'm just so overjoyed with the whole result. It's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Reece Saunders then, fourth place as you saw there, just holding on from Brian Crowell's. Mark Murphy finishes in sixth place after a very topsy-turvy race for him. Guillaume Hesno 2 laps down. 3 cars 3 laps down there. Justin Nair, Jonathan Hill and Gil Linster. Those guys were constantly battling. Ivan Baumann 6 laps down. Hans Blankart 13 laps down. And then the guys that didn't finish were Adrian Burks, Paul Irvin, and of course race control didn't even start the race because Alex was too busy doing race control. But wow, well,
You've got to add is that, the notes we got on Jonathan Rex is that he did race in season 1 of the Vertex Stock Car Cup, and he finished 14th out of all of the runners in the championship standings. And sadly, he wasn't with us for season 2. And he's come here and he's pulled this one out of the bag. And it's what we were talking about in terms of the tactics. Just we're going to come into it, but you weren't necessarily able to play the tactics yourself. Is that it was how the dice is rolled for you to some extent as well.
Yeah,
amazing.
Definitely. That's it. It's absolutely crazy. Well, to be honest, there's only one person that we can start this interview process with, and that is your race winner, Jonathan Rex. Jonathan, are you in as much disbelief as we are, mate? We didn't think you were going to make that.
I have a bit of a reputation for A, looking after my tyres, and B, managing to go long on fuel.
Well, you certainly made sure that came true tonight, mate. We were going ecstatic. I really do hope you watch the broadcast back, because we were going nuts in the end when we realised you could make it. And to do it by such a small margin as well and literally run out of fuel over the line, mate, you must be so pleased to have pulled that off.
Yeah, it's great when you can do it. I've managed it a couple of times before in races on iRacing. Once at Texas, and it's great when you can manage to do it, and that's you're often my best chance of winning. I can't really do it on speed, but I managed to do it on looking after tyres and fuel.
Well, that's it. You what they'd say with that sort of scenario is sometimes you outsmarted the big bullies at the front of the pack with that one. But what a great performance, though, mate. I mean, other than that, how did you find that your race went before that sort of pit window presented that opportunity to you?
The start wasn't the best of starts. I think we had some sort of net code with, I think it was Ivan. I'm not quite sure what happened there. And then sticking it in the wall, well, both walls, out of turn 2 on the backstretch, certainly wasn't in the game plan. That kind of mucked up my going long on a tyre run again, because I'd managed to run the first 50 laps before pitting. So that gave me a short run for that one, so that was going to muck things up a bit. I was hoping before that last yellow to be able to take it to about 170 before needing to pit.
Right.
But when the yellow came out, it was just, for me, it was right on the borderline.
Yeah.
And I thought I'll just go for it.
Well, it's you went from at one point causing a caution by having an accident on the back straight to winning the race, and now it gives me great pleasure to tell you, John, that because of that race win, you've won yourself 2 tickets to either a 2021 NASCAR, BTCC or Euro NASCAR race of your choice, courtesy of Vertex. So very well done, mate. That was honestly.
Thank you very much.
Not a problem.
And Jonathan, I've got to jump in. It's Chris Dawes up in the commentary box as well. Is that I know that you're being incredibly composed now and everything like that, but there's not a chance during those last, 10 or a dozen or a little bit more laps. Take all of us that have been watching and have been watching this on the stream and cheering for you, and I can tell you they have been, from the comments that have been coming in from the stream. They were cheering for you in this great fight at the end. But take us to what you were actually feeling at that point. You're composed now, but surely you were at the edge of your seat as well.
I was concentrating. That's about all I could say. I've raced this track quite a lot of times, the legacy version in previous years, and I know where my lift-off points, where my get back on the gas points are, where I have to put the car to look after the tyres, and it also, if you're looking after the tyres, you're looking after the fuel as well, because you're getting off the gas really early. Yes, you can run from the front, but if you get a lucky chance to go for it, and I was fortunate, I reckoned I could get close to 47 laps, and I only needed to make 46, so that worked out really well. But yeah, there were a few tense moments. My colleagues will tell you that at one point I was going with about 10 laps to go or so. I don't know if I can do this. And then I sort of looked at it and thought, well, no, in fact, it was a bit earlier than that, around about the 25 to go. And I was thinking, I can't do this. And then a few laps later, I'm thinking, no, it's going to be close. I'm not going to say never. Let's just see what happens. And then the closer we got, I'm thinking, no, I've just got enough to get there.
Well,
so,
at what point did you make that decision? That clearly, then, by that, you felt that you could do it, but there must have been a point when you went, it's do or die. It's boom or bust. I've gone so far now. I've got to make it work. It's either I'm going to win this or I'm not going to finish. When did you make that decision? Before the restart. Oh, really? Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. Looked at the numbers. I did a splash, topped it up at the one to go, and my teammates know what I'm like, and they went, well, if anybody can make the long run work, go for it. Yeah. So I went, yeah, no problem, I'm up for that. And they both tried splitting it at different parts, different times. Seriously, from before that restart, the plan was I was going to go for it and throw the dice and see if I could do it.
Well, let's go to the other point of pressure then. That's sort of addressing the tactics, if you will, there. But you must have also seen that two incredibly quick drivers in Alex Sedgwick and Aaron Smith were hunting you down, and you must have felt like the prey. And so that part must have been there, watching their times behind you as well, surely.
Actually, I wasn't even bothering to look at them. I was so concentrating on just hitting my marks. I was chatting to teammates, and they were saying, I was kind of keeping an ear out with what they were saying about where other people were on the track. Right. But I wasn't actually watching any of the times. And where they were. I got a little track map just above the screen, my race screen, and I was kind of watching that, and I was thinking, okay, and it was getting close, and they were still maybe just over a third of a lap behind me, and I thought, well, I've made my bed now. I've got to go for it. And if I run out the lap before, oh well, I've given it a go. But it worked out.
Well, it was certainly great that it did,
awesome.
Jonathan. Honestly,
you've earned a lot of new fans, I think, tonight, Jonathan. They were absolutely rooting for you. It was such a romantic story and nail biting to the end there. We loved it. Honestly, it was brilliant.
Well, I'm glad we put on a good show.
Indeed, indeed, mate. Well, it was fantastic to watch, Jonathan. Like I say, I echo all of Chris's comments. It was just a joy, really was. So very well done. And like I say, Alex will be in touch about the 2 tickets that you've won as well. If you want to sort that out further down the line or not, it's up to you. Just before we let you go, though, do you want to give a shout out to anybody, buddy?
My teammates for the support they give me. Reese and Mark are brilliant. We always, I don't say we work together, but we do give each other a lot of support, and we're always cheering each other on. So thank you for that, guys. Really appreciate it. And thank you, Alex, for putting this event on. It was great fun.
Smashing. Well, good to speak to you, Jonathan. Very well done, mate, and we'll let you go and enjoy the rest of your evening, mate.
Thank you very much.
What a great guy, and very, very composed as well. So he knew
what
he was doing.
Trick. Play it cool.
Oh, definitely, definitely. And someone that I know doesn't like playing it cool and likes pushing it around out there. Mr. Sedgwick joins us in the box. Alex, near the end of that one, you must have thought, I could get Jonathan here, but the battle with Aaron, do you reckon that's what slowed you down?
Well, I had a plan from the start. that plan didn't work out, believe it or not.
He's human. He's
yeah,
human.
he is human. What was the plan then, mate?
So no, it was a really good race. My master plan was that for the first however many, 3-4 runs really. It was just to try and go as long as I possibly could every single time, and I was, going off the races we've done in the past. There's a fairly high chance that there'd be a green-white checker or a short run to the finish. So my plan was to save a set of tyres in the pit for the last caution or the green-white checker or whenever it may have came out. So that was all well and good. I thought that would work out for me. Then my backup plan, which I didn't know I'd need, and I didn't even plan for, but it would have worked out. That's my excuse. Is so we got to the second to last pit stop when the safety car came out, and I was about 10 laps or so from pitting at that point.
Oh, right.
And if it went those 10 laps, I'd have had plenty of. I think I was about 4 or 5 laps short on fuel from not having to have that last pit stop.
Oh, right.
So the caution just fell sort of the wrong time. I think with the pace that Aaron and myself were running at the front, we're just using that little bit extra fuel, and just a few laps short, and had to have that last pit stop. I was still going to try and sort of run it to the end. I was still thinking there was going to be a safety car, but I saw Brian and Aaron pit, and you're like a second and a half, 2 seconds slower on old tyres. So I had to sort of pit at that point to avoid losing too much time once they were on new tyres. So yeah, didn't quite go to plan, but all in all, it was it was a really fun race. It was nice to think a bit strategically and run something a little bit different than just being flat out the whole way. And obviously pretty impressed with Jonathan that he managed to stretch the fuel all the way to the end as well. I was trying so hard to catch Aaron, and I thought that he took 2 tyres, I think, in the end.
Yeah, he did.
So I was able to obviously catch back up to him, which was good. But I was still convinced that was going to be for the win, and Jonathan was going to run out of fuel, and I mean he did, but he ran out like a corner too late for me to catch him. So no, all in all, good fun.
Yeah,
you were Watkins Glen, basically. What you did at Watkins Glen, he did to you.
That's true.
Karma,
That's
isn't
very
it?
Exactly, you deserve that one. But were you staggered by how much of an effect the undercut had? I mean, we were watching you sort of like try to eke it out, which we were not surprised to see you do. But Aaron Smith dropping in that lap or two earlier, and the next thing he's like screaming past you, and you had quite a gap to make up. I know it kind of evened itself out and you managed to get him in at the end, but were you a bit surprised by the undercut effect?
Yeah, I mean, I thought there was going to be quite a big difference between brand new and old tyres, but not to that sort of degree. I mean, we're doing low 32s, sort of 2s, 3s, 4s. And by the end of the stint, you're at like a 34.5 or something. So it's a huge drop off, and obviously even that one lap is like seconds lost. Which I think, obviously, as you saw, over a stint, it kind of balanced itself out, and I think I was quite good at maintaining my tyres and looking after them. I think if it was a long run with no fuel involved, would have been all right. But yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? And it opens up so many options. And
yeah.
I mean, even like you saw at the end with Aaron taking 2 tyres, like he had relatively for how many laps were left in the race, he had a big gap over me, and even those 2 old tyres, like there's still just such a big performance differential. Like this track's just so abrasive, so bumpy, especially with these cars where you've got all of the power and none of the downforce, none of the grip. It's it made things interesting for sure.
Well, we saw it at the beginning, didn't we, with Jonathan Hill, that he did stop. You guys didn't stop under that first caution.
Exactly,
because
yeah.
It was early, wasn't it? But he stopped and he came screaming through, and you guys kind of went, well, forget it, there's nothing we could do, let him go. But what I found really interesting was that I think from memory it was the penultimate stint that was the point when you suddenly decided to drop the hammer, because that was when you put in your fastest lap of the race. I may be wrong, and it may have been improved later on, but we were suddenly going, okay, Alex has now decided now's the time to really go for it. Was that a deliberate ploy, that penultimate stint? Right, let's go.
Aaron was in front of me. I had some catching up to do.
There was that.
Yeah, always helps. But no, I think it's because of the tyres, and obviously because of the length of the race, and you're always trying to, get that extra lap out. It's always such a fine balance. So effectively, you want to run the slowest race possible while still being in front to look after everything as much as possible. So, I mean, especially probably the last 5-10 laps of each stint would be I'd be in the position where I had a bit of a gap. So it'd be right, we'd lift 50 meters earlier, we'd roll in, we'd just use minimal throttle, minimal brake, and just kind of cruise as much as possible. So yeah, you're always in that balance, and obviously the last lap is the only one that pays anything. So there's no point pushing super hard to win lap 34 and then using up all your sets of tyres halfway through the race. So I think, yeah, it's just a whole, I guess, different way of racing, a different way of thinking about it when you've got effectively it's a one driver endurance race really, where you've got that side of things to manage, but then obviously you've got the performance side, and you want to be quick, you want to be at the front, but you want to be at the front at the right time, and you want to time everything and do everything that you can to make sure that you're at the front at the end, not at the front, ideally all the way through, but obviously it's the end that counts.
It was never going to be one of the, we saw a few in the championship where it was sort of like get yourself in the front and sort of like try to defend that. This race was never going to be that, was it, by any stretch? The tactics, I think Chaz and I put a padlock on our wallet so we weren't going to bet on anyone.
Yeah.
Because it just was not possible to read it any which way, was it?
Absolutely. I mean, if you did bet, you'd have probably lost some money on the winner as well. So,
or one person made a fortune, one or the other.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the great thing. You've got so many more aspects at play. It's not just the fastest is going to cruise away with it and is going to win. It's you've got to be good on and off pit roads, save as much as you can of fuel, tyres, be economical, be good through traffic, and obviously have pace as well. So much goes into it, and then at the end, it's a bit of luck and a bit of right place, right time with how cautions fall, things like that as well. So no, for sure, it's we've done 300 miles, and even until the last lap, you wouldn't have been able to tell who wins. Which we've seen probably 15-20 minute sprint races where from lap 1 who's going to win it. So yeah, it's that that's sort of part of what I love about NASCAR really, that it's never over until it's over.
We've loved it, and just that's made me think of another question. Apologies guys, I want to ask this, is that we were loving it when yourself and Aaron Smith came into the pits line astern, and we were on board, and Aaron was directly behind you, and somehow is that though at that point you all changed 4 tyres at that point, it wasn't the 2 tyre change, and he suddenly got, although he came in after you, he suddenly jacked up that front tyre that little bit before you and was able to get the run on you. For those of us who don't understand how it all works physically for you guys when you go in, how did that transpire? How does that work out?
Yeah, I mean, I think I was a bit lazy into my box, so I took longer to stop. Obviously, the service can only start once the car is at a complete stop. So, I think getting on and off pit road, especially getting into your box as good as possible, as fast as possible, it's probably one of the hardest things to do, because you've, at least in these cars, you've got a little bit of downforce, a lot of downforce actually at high speed, but at low speed it's just a big car that doesn't want to really do anything, and you're trying to stop it with no aero, no mechanical grip, and on really old tyres. So it's such a fine line between getting in just right, locking the rears or locking a front and either being in the wrong place in the box or sliding through the box and having to reverse. So I think I was just a little bit too cautious going in, and then obviously Aaron got it stopped better, got the service done. I think my launch was all right, but obviously just gained a bit of time on entry, and that's what won the race off pit road for him.
Cool. Okay. So it's just good for us to understand that, because it was awesome again, Chaz, wasn't it? It was the amount of things, the dynamics that we were able to enjoy during this race was probably second to none that we've covered so far.
Oh yeah, definitely. The extra length of the race and the different things that you had to think about along the way was just. We got so crossed up with all of it, but it was a hell of a lot of fun to watch. And
we gave up trying to second guess, to be honest, didn't we?
We did, yeah. We really did, to be honest. But yeah, it was another good event, Alex, and I'm sure if you watch the stream back, you'll certainly enjoy, despite not winning, you'll enjoy the last sort of 20 laps or so where me and Chris realised that Jonathan can do it, and then he goes and does it. So it was mega, but we do need to shimmy on. Would you like to give anyone a direct shout out before we let you go?
All of you guys as ever. I do actually watch most of these back, and it's always, even though I know what's happened and obviously know what's gone on in the race, it's always entertaining to watch you guys, or watch the race, listen to you guys back, and you both do a great job. So thank you very much for that. Thanks everyone.
Thank you.
Obviously behind the scenes, we had a different race direction. Alex tonight, not me, another Alex. So thank you to him for helping out. Obviously, thanks to everyone watching. Thanks to everyone who's got involved with this, and hopefully, as we sort of look towards the winter months, we'll be able to build up the calendar for Vertex once again, and get some big grids back. So looking forward to that. But just thank you to everyone who's been involved in any which way so far, and hopefully more to come.
Brilliant. Nicely said, mate. Well, thank you once again, and we will speak to you very soon, buddy.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.
Cheers. Well, it does come to that point, Chris, where we need to wrap things up, I'm afraid. But
we don't even get to speak to Aaron.
Oh yeah, well, we'll drag him in for a quick one, shall we? Mr. Smith joins us in the booth. Aaron, another podium for you, mate. You must be happy with that one after such a tough, long race.
Yeah, I mean, third's pretty good. It's a little bit disappointed in my performance in that last run there. I could have saved about a second or so on Alex if I didn't almost hit the wall a couple times in those fresh tires. But yeah, I'll certainly take it.
And what were you thinking when you saw that Jonathan was ahead of you guys near the end of that one? Did you think that eventually he'd run out of fuel and that your battle with Alex was for the win?
Yeah, I had a hunch Jonathan was going to run out right across the line. This happens when someone tries to go all the way on it. It worked out in his favor pretty well, so props to him for making that work. But I was hoping I'd be able to keep Alex behind me there at the end, because he left the pits about 6.5 seconds behind me. I spent the last 20 laps trying not to wreck, because I only took the right sides. But
well, on that front, Aaron, is that you chose to go in on that first safety car, which was early. So there's kind of like, first of all, what was behind, what was the master plan that? And did we interpret that you only took on 2 at that point as well for that first stop?
Oh, no, I just took fuel there. I just wanted to top off.
Okay.
See what my tires were like with the percentages and stuff like that. But, yeah.
You were playing all sorts of master strokes, weren't you? Because you had us confused throughout the entirety of that race. We had no idea, and we gave up trying to second guess in the end, and we loved it.
I spent about the first 120 laps trying to find my bearings and just find where the fast lines were and how to save the tires and stuff like that. But once I got behind Alex, I was able to find out what he was doing and copy it.
It was amazing to watch, and we were trying to work out where you'd taken on 2, and certainly we worked out at the end there, and yeah, I mean, it must have been intriguing for you on that first one just to sort of be the only one at the top there that chose to pit. But it was one of those races, wasn't it, with 300 miles, is that everybody doing something slightly different, that anything could have happened, as was shown by Jonathan managing to win it with his slightly different strategy to everyone else's.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, to have a 300-mile race end up in 2 seconds between first and third, I'd say it's a pretty good race.
We loved it. We absolutely loved it. I think Chaz and I said earlier to Alex, Chaz and I basically put padlocks back on our wallets because we weren't going to bet on anyone anymore because we'd just lose money.
Oh, absolutely, I wouldn't.
No, it was. It got to a point where we just didn't know where to look. We didn't know what battles were going to develop and what was going to open up. But it certainly was a hell of a race. The distance was obviously quite a lot longer than most races that we've had in this series before, and even the special events that we've done. Did you find that that made things more exciting over the long run, or did you think that it sort of dumbed down the racing a bit?
Well, the racing was pretty good throughout because you were always manhandling your car. But at about lap 50, I was starting to lose focus because you don't really get that adrenaline rush that you would get behind the wheel of a normal car. So at that point, I was just tired and ready to quit. But we were able to survive the last 150 laps and bring it home.
Well, it was certainly great to watch, Aaron, and of course a podium as well. Not too much to be sniffed at there, but I know you would have liked the win. Before we let you go, though, buddy, do you want to give a shout out to anyone?
Yeah, I'd like to thank the folks at Revolution Satellite Racing for putting together the car, and y'all for broadcasting, and everyone at Vertex for putting it on.
Thank you very much, mate. Well, good to speak to you again as always, and enjoy the rest of your day, mate.
Alrighty, thank you.
Cheers. There we go.
We have to have the yawn.
We can't go without speaking to him, can we? Well, he's just a top bloke, really good driver, and such a lovely guy all round.
Told you, American Kimi Räikkönen.
Yeah, damn right. Well, just to round up then, Chris. I mean, where do we start with that one? I mean,
wow.
It was just a belter, wasn't it?
Just phenomenal. It really is just an amazing job. I loved every second of it. Just thoroughly entertaining, and I love the fact that we just didn't know how to keep testing everything.
Yeah, well, that's it.
We've ended the stream.
Oh no, we're still good. We're still going. Don't you worry.
Oh, okay. Sorry. It is.
It's
just at my end.
It's just the fact that we. I think it sort of adds a bit more to it that we don't know who's taking what tyres and who's taking what fuel, because then when we're proven wrong in the long run, it's more of a surprise to us. And it's like in NASCAR, it's already exciting anyway when people try and call the pit stop before the yellow comes out, so that they're at the front of the queue, they've got fresh tyres. And we saw a few instances tonight where that nearly happened, and there was guys just missing out on bits. And the distance of it, I thought, made it even better, because like we've kept saying, it's just thrown so much in the air, hasn't it?
We need to make sure that we get even more people onto this grid, because it was just one of the most enjoyable races I think that I've done with Vertex. It was just phenomenal. Then adding even more to that field, it will take it stratospheric. Let's not kid ourselves. It would be out of this world. So we need to get this one up. For those of you who are sitting on the fence and contemplating it, do it, because
definitely.
The drivers clearly enjoyed it. There's so much to play. Jonathan's shown that you can throw a little curveball and it could get you something pretty special. We just end up going mental at the entertainment of it all. And those that have been watching, the comments that have been coming in, thank you all for them.
Yeah,
it just proves our point there.
It really does. And of course, Chris, it's been a pleasure to work with you again as well. And can't wait for the next time that we get to do this. Of course, in a week's time, we're going to be doing the Darlington 250 on Vertex Esports, which is going to be using the 1987 machinery once again. Cannot wait for that one. So do stick around, keep an eye on all the social media channels for that. For now, though, he has been the beautiful, there you go, Chris Dawes. And I have been Chaz Draycott. This has been the Vertex Stock Car Cup Legacy Kentucky 300. Thank you, everybody, for watching, and we'll see you again very soon.